Hunas, what is up, beautiful people? My eyes are opened up like that because we are uber close. 18 members away, subs away from that 450,000 mark. That is big for us. Obviously, we are looking to even bigger. We want 500,000 as well. Shout out to everybody. Good morning. Good morning, Adara. Let's see if we already have the people. The people that we're here for every day coming into the chat. Yes, we do. We got Big Bob Dub. Kyle doesn't like when I call other people big, but that's just the way it goes. We got Naps. We got Pillsbury. We got Andrew Chow, Mr. Longshorts. I see you, sir. We got Ronaldo, JF Trader, Charlie Taff, and the 420 Bud Monster, Saul G. AV, I see you, sir. TC, Caleb English, Joshua Walker there, gracing us with his presence, as well as Jason White. We got Sebastian Stockup, Derek B, and Fiddleback. I see you, Kevin Mendoza, and Estupido Bitcoin in the house as well. We got Dino Abedini, Insurance Mama. What's up? She's saying what's up to us, so what's up to her? We got Alex Tank in, Alex Enzo as well. So many different names. Laura Sanchez, I see you, ma'am. What is up with you? And what's up with you, Adara? I see triangles, baby.
Yeah, there's the one triangle. I like this level Sharif saw. I sit down. I'm like, hi, would you like water? Whatever, normal morning conversations. And then I'm like, I drew this line in the pre. I drew this line before I went up to La Big Desk. And I liked it because it was the top of that area. I wanted the breakout. The breakout happened, of course, right at the open, so I did miss that opportunity. But then I was like, you know, if we bounce here, we're getting long. We did bounce. Now, though, I think it's a short off that level. So I'm trying to take whatever profit I can. If we break decisively below that 59, or the gate, now we're getting out because we did break below that area. Now we're bouncing back up. Come on. Make up your mind, TQs. I want to make up my mind. I'm just going to get out of this now. However, I will totally take this short. If we come back, we're going to put this in at 50. 08. So basically where I got it in the long, we're going to get it in the short. We're going to risk it up into, yeah, there we go. We got involved. We're going to risk this up until like 25s. So we're going to risk about 17 pennies. I want all the smoke. I don't want a little bit of smoke. I want all the smoke. I want, you know, Altria, the tobacco company, I want that level of smoke. So that's what we're getting involved here. Philip Morris, too. I want that, too. Yeah, okay, so this short works. So this is sometimes you got to flip the style up. If they hate, let them hate. And watch the cents pile up. So trying to get racks here. So yeah, we're going to see, yeah, all jokes aside, I am so happy to be here, and I'm happy I was able to flip that mentality using a level that I liked in the pre. And I see you also had some triangles, some fist pumps, and some excitement.
Yes, we're going to get right to it right now. Let's talk about these trades before we start the lesson du jour. So the Katina man alerted me to that Tesla 180. I wasn't alive to that fact. And there it is. We went long, bang, bang, and bang. Idea, light bulb. Oh, I wanted the light bulb, Katina man. Okay. Oh, I thought. Love it. We'll get to the weed names in a second because I think Neil mentioned that they were doing things. So we'll cover those in a sec. But 180 long on TSLA, and we took a quick scalp into the $0.50 there. We also had a nice trade on META. This one was kind of the same idea as yesterday. Meta, for whatever reason, don't really care why, respecting the 10 EMA on the 5. It did it again today. We were able to scalp a nice 30, 40 penny winner there off that 451 bounce, which again was planned based upon the 10 exponential moving average. Those are the only trades that I've had today. I'm going to be looking at the dead one, Apple, as well. I like what Neil had to say with respect to that 185 level. I think if Apple takes 185 on a closing basis on the 5, I can definitely be persuaded to get into this monster, and maybe I don't know what the afternoon is going to bring. Maybe we can curl into 186, 187. We'll definitely keep eyes on AAPL and let you know what's happening there. Before I update you, what's going on? Tesla, $2 in the $2 in the money off that 180. Oh, sorry, I think it's a 181.5 short. Exactly. 181.5 short on the Katina man. Shout out to him. He's also printing on Palantir. Keep your eyes on those two. Palantir getting the nod for, who was it today that gave him the nod?
Jeffries.
Jeffries, thank you for that. Yeah. Okay. Big Kyle's doing his thing early today. $9.99 super chat, Katina man. Here's what Big Kyle would say. Hey, gang. More garden this morning, but hit that SPY short I mentioned this morning between 512 and 513. I've covered 90% on wicks down and holding some for the dream. Watch 507 and a quarter if we go downside. Shout out to Big Kyle. I showed you guys the garden he was working in today. We're going to miss you, Kyle. Keep us up to speed with what you're doing out there, man. But glad to be with you wherever you're listening to us on your headphones or however you're doing that, Big Kyle. So shout out to you, my man. All right, Meta's on the way up again. So that 10 period, for whatever reason, again, respecting on the day. And yeah, Meta is big, up big today, 2.5%. Good look for Zuck and his crew over there. So let's get right to work, baby. We got the lesson du jour to get to. So as I mentioned, the last day today for the gap and go strategy, Adara came up with next week's topic. We will be talking about IPOs, how to trade IPOs, how to trade SPACs, and how to trade direct listings. Not like we've had direct listings in a long time. We're gonna be talking about those 3 type of trades and all the variations thereof next week. So if you're into that kind of thing, join Adara and I again on Monday at 11 for the start of that lesson. Let's get right to it. So multi-signal approach today. The gap and go strategy is a popular way to capitalize on strong price movements in intraday trading. But relying solely on gaps can be a little risky. So this lesson explores how to integrate technical indicators with the gap and go strategy for a more comprehensive approach. So let's get right to the business. So beyond the gap. So while gaps offer valuable insights, no question about that, they can be misleading at times. That's just the nature of the beast. Technical indicators provide additional data points to help confirm the validity of the gap and go opportunity. Here's how to combine them. Let's get right to it. So first and foremost, we already talked about this, you're gonna identify the gap. As usual, start by finding stocks that with significant gaps ups or down, if you're short inclined like Big Kyle, at the open, accompanied with high volume. How are you gonna do that? You're gonna weasel your way into a scanner. Now, you're probably gonna have to pay for the good stuff, especially the stuff that's live. And I see we got 2 small cap gappers that are halted to the high side now, BENF and MI. Keep your eye on those, my small cap gapper traders. But I'm showing you the scanner for a reason. This column over here, the gap column, that's what you wanna be able to get for your gap and go strategy. You want to get yourself a scanner that you can narrow down the parameters. Say if you want to trade large caps and you want to dismiss all the small caps, easy to do. You filter by market cap. You put anything above 50 billion, 100 billion, whatever. And then you're going to go to the gap column and you're going to say, I want only stocks that are gapping over 2%. And then Sean will say, no, 2% is not for me. 3%. Adara will say, 3%? I need 5, bro. Anyway, the point of this is get yourself a scanner so that you can manipulate and adjust the parameters to your liking, okay? I'm not telling you exactly what to insert, but you're looking for gappers. How big, that's gonna be up to you. So you're gonna start by identifying the gaps, and then you're gonna select some indicators, right? So choose the technical indicators that complement the gap and go strategy. Here are some popular options. Trend indicators, right? Moving averages, like relative strength, trend indicators, moving averages, RSI can confirm the overall trend direction. Upward for bullish gap, downward for bearish gap. So RSI and moving averages. I personally use exponential moving averages because I feel that they're better for intraday trading, seeing as how they weight more recent price action more heavily than the historical price action, okay? Momentum indicators as well, very important. The MACD, moving average convergence divergence. Your stochastic oscillator as well can gauge the strength of the market behind the gap. That's another popular one. And then just support and resistance indicators like Bollinger Bands, pivot points, both of which I've got up on my chart. And I've shown you guys this chart a lot. Here we go. The upper teal line, trust the teal, shout out to Max. That's the upper part of the Bollinger. On my other, come in, Katina Man, what's going on? Oh my God.
Tanky, baby.
The market's tanking, the Katina Man's printing. So good news on this side of the screen. I hope you guys are enjoying yourselves on that side of the screen. But here's what pivots look like, Ram. So I just showed you what Bollinger looked like. Pivots look like kind of like this. They are based upon the high, the low, and the closing print of the previous day, and then you base different different levels off them. So you can use those as well. Let me just load up the screen over here. So your Bollinger Bands, your pivot points can help identify potential entry and exit points based on historical price levels. So you're selecting your indicators. So first you're identifying the gap, then you're going to select which indicators work best with your trading methodology, and then you're going to look to interpret the signals, right? Analyze the indicators alongside the gap. Ideally, indicators should support the direction implied by the gap. So are the moving averages pointing up? Is the 50 above the 200? Are you opening above the pivot points? Is the RSI in oversold or overbought territory? You're looking for your indicators to point in the same direction as what the gap is implying. So if you're gapping up, the implication is that you're going to trend upward. But what do the indicators say? So you're looking for that other check mark, right? The balance of the evidence. We always talk about this to see where everything is leaning to. So that's what I'm talking about there. And here are some good examples. So here's an example of a support resistance analysis with gaps. So you have a gap up here, nice move up, but you also have it as support. So that's very interesting. So the support and resistance levels also help direct you in the same direction as a gap. And here's an example of the RSI analysis with the gap. So you gap up here, but look where you are in the RSI. You're in overbought territory. So you end up reversing a little bit. You end up trending down and filling that gap. So the RSI here was telling you, we might be a little bit too rich for my blood. So keep your eye on that. So what are the benefits of combining technical indicators with the gap and go? So the first and foremost, obviously, is the reduction of false signals. Technical indicators can help filter out misleading gaps and identify stronger trend continuations, but they're also really good for confirmation. They help confirm the trend strength. So indicators can highlight the momentum behind a gap, giving you more confidence before entering a trade. So the confirmation aspect of it equally as important. And your improved entry and exit points, I mean, especially with pivots. Technical analysis can suggest potential entry and exit points based upon support and resistance levels, or if you're really good at using RSI, your overbought and your oversold conditions. All right, so here's a bit of an example, and I'm going to include these examples because I think it's good to have this in here. So imagine a stock called PQR. It gaps up $1 at the open, okay? It reaches $20 with high volume. So it was at 19, it gaps up $1, it goes to 20 bucks with good volume, all right? You see its 50-day moving average trending upwards, so the slope of the 50 period is pointing up along with its RSI at 55, so in kind of no man's land, not oversold and not overbought. So that indicates to you that there's further room for potential buying because you're not in the overbought territory. This confluence of signals alongside the gap suggests a potentially strong uptrend. So you have both things pointing in the same direction. You could use the 50-day moving average as a dynamic support level for your entry and consider RSI reaching the overbought zone around 20 as a potential exit. So that's a decent example there. And some final considerations that you should look at, Ram. Indicator selection. Choose indicators that suit your trading style and risk tolerance. There's no one-size-fits-all approach. And what do I mean by that? So if you've employed, to good success, moving averages, if you've employed relative strength index to good success, I don't know if it's a good idea for you to start exploring different indicators with real money when you haven't employed them with success outside of the gap and go strategy. So my suggestion to you is try to employ what you already know. Wow, 10. Guys, we are 10 subs away from hitting that 450,000. If you are watching us right now and you're not subscribed, Adira and I are kindly asking you, the Katina man and the Sean and the Neil and everybody.
The Katina man and the Sean?
And the Sean.
There's two. Sean confirms.
Thank you
Sean
for that.
confirms.
And the Neil we're asking you kindly, even Ram and the Chilean Nightmare are asking you kindly to hit that sub button, hit that like button, and share us if you can. We'll be forever grateful. Ram, if we can get back to the chart. Ram. So your indicator selection. So there's no one-size-fits-all approach. Use what you're used to, or at least learn something new in the sim when real money is not on the line before you employ it with the gap and go strategy. But there also can be instances of indicator overload. That's a real thing, right? Don't rely on too many indicators. Focus on a few that your gap and go strategy works well with. And now that's going to take some practice, obviously. Here we go, baby. And there it is. We have 450,000 members, baby. We're adding to it. Woo! I'm happy it happened on the midday.
Thank you so much, guys.
I'm smashing the thing.
So
I don't care.
happy to be
Apparently
here.
traders don't like this, but I don't care.
So much.
That's big. We're really happy for doing this, guys. You guys rock. Thank you so much. I'm so happy this happened on How to Trade, too. I feel good about it. No, someone unsubscribed. Someone's trolling us.
It's wonderful. It's really wonderful that we got to have this happen on How to Trade.
Yeah, I'm good with that. So, guys, indicator overload is a real thing. Focus on the few that complement your gap and go strategy. And your confirmation is not guaranteed here by any means. Even with the supportive indicators, gaps and trends can reverse. Always manage risk with stop losses. Guys, and also consider the context in which you're trading. Consider the different types of gaps. There's common gaps, continuation gaps, exhaustion gaps, runaway, breakaway gaps. We did an entire week on gaps, Adair and I, on How to Trade. If you weren't around for that, go to the YouTube homepage. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, too, if you're not subscribed. And use the search. And just type in gaps. And all the lessons that we did on gaps will come up, so you'll be apprised of all of them. So consider the different type of gaps when planning your strategy, because each gap has its own implications for the trend of the asset. Check out the previous How to Trade week on gaps for more details on each type. Thank you for that, Adair. And last takeaway here is combining technical indicators with the gap and go strategy can definitely enhance your ability to make high probability trades. This approach provides a more comprehensive view of the market, helping you confirm trends and potentially improve your entry and exit points. Who would not want that? Just make sure that you are managing risk and using stop losses so that you're around to hang out with us, because, you know, if you don't have any money in your account, you can't trade.
That's true. I mean, you could always hang out and watch, but you know, it's always really fun when you have everybody trading. It's such a great community to be a part of, and I am thank you guys so much for the support. We do love being here every single day. So I do have to shout out this comment from Santrom. I thought it was Cantina Man because he always tells us what's for lunch. Laugh emoji.
I like it.
I love that. Also, I pointed this out recently too. The amount of food-related Sean animations. There's the chicken one. There's the one where he's a chicken.
Very good point.
He's there's a hot dog. Thank you, Ramin. Hot dog cannon, which is Sean as a hot dog. Fruit salad. Hydration Nation, which is water, but the point remains. So yeah, kind of interesting theme there. I don't blame you for the Cantina Man thing there. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. Also, I put this in the chat, but I was comfortable with the amount of smoke I took on the TQs. So I didn't have all the smoke, but I had an amount of smoke that I could stand. You know, you don't want to like get like, you know, set off the smoke detector or anything either, right? So I got involved here initially, like I said, long, flipped it short. Then I did something I haven't really done much of since I went live, and I fat fingered a little bit. I fat fingered out a little bit too early, but that's okay. I re-added. I added back in. I like this, and then I had a plan. I got out some here just below that 56 area because 56 was a pretty good sticking point. Then we got out the rest at 86s, and that I was pleased as punch about.
Nice.
Had some smoke. Back in shorts here. I am short both Intel. This is, I think, one of the first times I've been in two kind of spicier trades at the same time since going live. But I like this Intel short off that previous area of resistance. Shout out to Pitbull for pointing this one out to me. I think it was a bit more of a range earlier, but I think, you know, if I can play this off of that resistance, I like that we're kind of below the 90 MA. I'm trying to take about 7 pennies here into that previous base that was also pre-market support. If we break above that 90s area where we had a little bit of a, you know, chop and turn earlier, I am outie. I'm also about flat on my sock sell, so apparently I'm in a bit of a chips with the rip move. Instead of chips with a dip, we're trying to take these rip shorts off these little chips here. So here I liked that we had, this is kind of exact same play as I had with the Qs, area that was initially holding up a support, flips to resistance, and I want It's not all the smoke. I did steal that phrase from you, but it's a pretty fun one to use in these markets, especially because these markets get very spicy. And I don't like spice in my food, but I sure as heck love it in these trades. You were in Meta.
I just got stopped out. As you were talking, it dipped. So the idea here was to take a deeper retracement off the 20 period. So this one made its way down into the 10. We had successful trades with it off the 10. Alas, the 20 period, well, at least not holding strictly. I'm going to continue to watch to see if it does get a bounce off the 20 period. If it does, I'm going to get back in. Right now, it is defending that 450 area, and I put my stop at 449.82. So I did give it 18 pennies, but 18 pennies could literally be the spread on Meta. So I'm going to wait to see whether or not we do base out here. And the thing is about the VWAP and the 20 period are awfully close to one another too. So, you know, what may look like a 20 period hold may end up being a VWAP hold. So I don't want to, you know, mistakenly conflate the two. But anyway, we're dancing at the the $50 area right now. So I want to see if we hold up here. And if we do, I'm going to get back into Meta. Simple as that. Now, let's talk about some of these other large gappers because I haven't covered any of them quite yet. Softy is respecting VWAP today. So if we get another dip here into the soft one at VWAP, 404 2/3 is where VWAP is on Microsoft at the moment. I'll be looking to get in. We've had 1, 2, and now 3 defends on Microsoft at the volume weighted average price. So keeping my eyes on that one. Tesla, look. All right, let's load this up here for a sec. We do have some support here on Tesla. I mean, you know, I'm not going to put too much weight into a candle that printed at 4:50 a.m., but the fact of the matter is we're holding up right at that 178.50-ish area, which was the overnight low. And, you know, we did how many shares? 7,305 shares on that 1 5-minute candle at 4:50 a.m. So, yeah, negligible compared to the 513 we've done on this one, 513,000. So much, I don't know how many multiples higher, but for whatever reason, Tesla is finding support at that level. So we're going to keep our eyes on that. So it looks like Meta is holding up right now above that 20 period moving average. I'm going to wait a little bit longer. Well, maybe I won't, but before getting in here on META, I think that this is the right move. I just got shaken out. I'm trying to pack my patience here and not trying to jump in too quick on META, and right back down into 450 it goes. So I get a great price here if I enter. So I'm going to give it to you for a second while I put my stops.
Go ahead. Yeah, I mean, SOXL is doing things here, as I sometimes say. Like I said, I want to see what we did around that VWAP area, which is around that 38.65. So we did have that rejection, which is what I want. I noticed we kind of stalled. Initially, I was gutting for 36s. Then I'm like, we weirdly stalled at 45. Then I'm like, hey, Adara, that's not that weird. Look at that earlier area of support. So we're getting out at 45. Should we get back there? Come on, SOXL. You know, we're going to have to see what happens. Intel, though, a little bit weaker here than the chips as a whole because I am still a couple pennies in la money on Intel. But Jack Burton was asking about if Lyft was up my alley. So let's find, and I like that too. It's kind of like a car pun. Because, you know, Lyft, is it up my alley?
I like it, I like it.
Oh, Lyft is on the NQ. I did not realize that, because I know Uber's on the NY, so I was confused.
Interesting.
Lyft on the NQ, though, here. Okay. Yes, Jack Burton, this is up my alley. I love this. Thank you so much for shouting this out. Sorry, I said that very aggressively, but I really like this stock, and I always appreciate when people point stuff out here in the chat. Eva, shout out to Pitchbull as well, again, for pointing out Intel for me, right? So this bounce off this VWAP is nice. The one thing that I do not love about Lyft is the fact that there's not really a lot of consistency. We had a slightly higher high here. Now we're having a lower high at VWAP, so I might think we might flat bottom break. So I won't have an entry point right this second. However, this is certainly something that would merit being added to the esteemed side chart. So I really like this look. Thank you very much, Jack Burton, for pointing this out. I love when stocks have defined levels I can bounce around and jump on here. Also, Ranhir Sharma saying, Adara sounds like the girl from the Domino's ad. I do not know this ad, but now I'm going to have to, I had no idea there was an ad with a Domino's ad with a girl, so that's pretty funny there. It's been a really fun day to trade so far. So my Unity was just acting up. It was like fully charged. I'm like, thank you, Unity, for telling me that. Please look at Apple, about to break down, says Paula Blackford. Let's see. Up right now, 639. Yeah, so this is, I don't know. We have a higher low here. We did have that rejection. To me, I think we need to make a lower low. We need to break below that. And to me, this is a key area as well because we had that 184 area resistance in the pre-market, then support. I think if we break below 184, that's where I would say things start getting a little bit spicy with Apple. Right now, Paula Blackford, I have to say, I don't have a read, especially with the fact that we kind of trade a peak above VWAP earlier.
All right, I want to mention Plug Power because Plug Power is going here. And what's going on with Plug Power Shares Friday? Here is our sponsor, Benzinga, with this. Plug Power inked a memorandum of understanding with Allied Green Ammonia, AGA, an Australian company focused on, yeah, you guessed it, green ammonia production. Under the deal, the company will supply up to 3 gigawatts of plug electrolyzer capacity. So it's an electrolyzer deal, so it's a hydrogen deal. So not a bad look there. Plug Power going here on the day, up 11 1/3, respected VWAP quite well this morning. There you go, 10 o'clock was the first touch there, dip trade into VWAP. All the other dip trades have held up decent so far. I mean, it's not a bad look here on Plug. Whether or not we end up trading this, an entirely different story. The volume is still quite good. VWAP on my chart is at 269. So we'll see if it makes its way down into that area and we could be persuaded to trade this. But the meta trade that I'm in at the moment, we're still about 10 pennies out of the money. Oh, right back into the money on this one. Looking for that 450 hold and to break above into that third of a dollar area. That's where we're hanging out and bang! Right up on Meta again, nicely in the money on this one. About 50 pennies in the money, super quick on this monster. And then here we go into that whole dollar area. If we can make it into 451, that'll be a buck winner, and I'll just flatten the trade around there. We're dancing around the 2/3 of a dollar. Let's see if we can pamp up here into 451 or thereabouts on META. It's a good day. It's been a couple of decent days here for Meta, and there it is, baby. Into the whole dollar we go. Pamped about that. But again, Meta, the deeper retracements, in my humble opinion, come into the 20. The more shallow retracements come into the 10. And this whole idea here was to take that defend on the 20. Alas, we did get cut up. You know, let's call a spade a spade. We did get cut up trying to get into this monster earlier with too tight of a stop. So second time around, I definitely gave it a little bit of room. And there it goes right into the high side. Here comes 451.5. That's $1.50 off that 450 level in a matter of minutes. Not even minutes, man. I think that was like 30 seconds ago. So good move up here for the monster. Shout out to Zuck and his gold chain and that beard that he's grown out too.
Yeah, he's a lucky Duckerberg. That is for sure. That's a nice look there.
Thank you.
Also, yeah, sorry, production, Ramin and Fabian, my Unity was having a moment, so it's not currently on, but I'm going to try to fix it in a little bit. I just think he needs to take a breather. But Lyft, right now, I am trying to get involved in that short because I was initially going to get involved in 56s, but let's try 55s because I think sometimes if you like a level, you got to do what you got to do. Comfortable with this position size, comfortable with what I'm trying to do here. Thank you to Jack Burton for pointing this out. Initially, I was like, I want to see what we do here, but that was like a Dara. Lower highs, look at that little waffle around VWAP. We are below the 90 MA, and now it looks like we're taking off to the downside without me, so that's a little bit sad, but I like this short.
I like that too.
If Lyft can let me in the door, you know, it's like, what's our ETA, Lyft? I want to get involved in this car. I want to take this ride to the downside.
Down.
So we're going to have to see if Lyft helps lift my P&L, but I have to get involved first. Also, SOXL was a bit of a SOXL here, but I want to talk about it because I'm happy with the management of it. So we got out, like I said, I was really trying to see what we did here, and I'm really proud of this exit. Around like 65s, we broke above 65s with that viciousness. I got out. SOXL, if you come back and bounce at this level once again, I have no problems getting involved to the upside. But right now, sometimes you just have to take a SOXL so you can go make more M's and take more W's.
Like that.
Hopefully later. Right now, Intel's still waffling around. Nothing to report there. What else? Some people were mentioning that Google move earlier. What are you looking at?
I want to mention the small cap gappers
please.
for all my small cap traders out there. Here is the small cap chart, Ram, and beautiful look today on some of them. Only one of them has broken down now below VWAP. Upload. It's not called Upload, but it looks like that. It's like Upland, UPLD. Upland Software. Thank you, Adara. This one's the only one that's broken down through the volume weighted average price. All the other ones trading above VWAP. And look at ARDX. Great look for this one. Is this second day play? Is this one we were talking? Yes, it is. This one started running in the aftermarket yesterday. It looks like on earnings there at 405, and the continuation just keeps on coming. And look at this. The support level this morning on ARDX, excuse me, was the top end of the range at 4 p.m. yesterday. You just love when those two resistance become support and vice versa. I like that. It really helps give you clear levels off which to get in and get out. So I want to make that observation. 790 low for all intents and purposes. One time someone thought in the chat that I said intensive purposes. I was like, no, I know it's intents and purposes.
Well, your purposes are very intensive.
Yeah,
sure.
right?
So it makes sense, yeah.
But yeah, intensive purposes. Yeah, no, it really though, this one, great look here. Watch out though, $9 could be a bit of a resistance level. Look at that top that we put in the pre, or what time was that? 6:20 or so, when we really started pamping up here. And that came into around $9. Not much below that. 894, 895 or thereabouts. Technically now, we have broken that pre-market high, so that one does get the check mark next to its name, that it had a definable pre-market high and it is trading above it. Alas, it must stay above there for us to get long. Otherwise, we'll look possibly to secure some shorts, maybe back down into the VWAP, 840 or so. So that's the first one. ARDX. EBS, this one having another good day. And I know there's more new ones that came up, guys. I see BENF halted at 950. I see AWN halted down at 391. These ones just came in way after I put these up. So EBS, a continuation play from, looks like Wednesday afternoon there. Started moving in the aftermarket, continued yesterday, and is continuing today. Keep your eye out on this one, though. An inside day on EBS right now. Definitely within the highs and the lows of yesterday's price action. VWAP on EBS, $3.65, so 3 2/3. Look for possible support off there if it does break the 20. So EBS, a good look. ELYM, look at this monster. It's at high a day. This printed 840 was the closing print on this guy yesterday. And now we're at high a day, 1096. We're knocking the door of 11. This thing's up 30%. Let me give you the deets. Where the hell is it on my chart? The heck, I mean. ELYM. All right, so it's a $306 million market cap, and the float is 20.7 million shares. Let's find out if the short float on it is important or not. ELYM. Shout out to the NOS boss and his folks there at Trade IDs. 3.25% of the float is shorted. So something to keep in mind. This one's real good. This one's flying. This one may halt here, guys. It looks like it just pumped up into 1119. This one could halt. Keep your eye on it. 1120 now, HOD. This one's going. So ELYM got all the momentum behind it. It's not done, though. SGBX. Look at this monster. So this got to 930 after opening today at sub $3, $2.91. It's knocking the door 10. It's coming back a little bit right now, though. Trying to dance with that $7 area. Seems to be an interesting area of support. You have multiple 5-minute candles wicking and then bouncing off that 7.5 to close above it. I'm going to look for a deeper retracement at the 6.25 level. That's where VWAP is headed. Let's see if this one can continue to pump up. I'm going to change upload now. We're going to put BENF because upload's below the volume weighted average price, and BENF has everybody's attention. So we need to be able to cover this one. Let's put in the ticker real quick, BENF, and then I'll give you the deets on this one. So this one here, what is this company? Beneficient, okay, $34 million market cap, up almost 400% today, 397%. The float on this, minuscule, 1.2 million shares. So very, very small. And in case you're just joining us and wondering the significance of the float, well, the smaller the float, the more volatile the name, okay? This one, BENF, and it's about 3% of the float is shorted. So not, a big amount, but enough to keep your eye out for that. And then I mentioned ARDX. The last one here, ALHC. It's a big move up, but then it's a sideways move. So if you can play this range and you can play it successfully, have at it. It seems like the range is tightening up, though, on this. A bit of a pennant being put in, a compression pattern. This could resolve to the upside. 6 3/4 is the breakout area.
Yeah, I mean, I hear range and I take a look, but that's a pretty tight range, especially with a penny stock, right? You have to take a shareage that I am just deeply uncomfortable with.
Feel you.
But yeah, I think, speaking of ranges, I feel like I have not been playing ranges to the best of my ability, and maybe the issue is just how I'm looking at the charts, right? And that's just something I want to reflect on. So this Intel, I showed it to Pitchbull for pointing this one out to me. I think that this Intel initially was a range. By the time I saw it, I liked this rejection off of that previous area of support around 30.85, and initially it worked out. Now I'm thinking, you know, Adara, this range, the real range still could have been intact. Maybe you should have been bit more patient, right? Same with Lyft, which I thought was going to get a bit of a move to the downside. Looks like it's actually lifting off here up a VWAP. So I have to say, I'm feeling a little bit shortchanged by my shorts, but I'm also feeling pretty shortchanged by how I'm looking at the charts. You know what I mean? So I just want to like reflect on that. It's like, Adara, you like ranges, and I feel like I sometimes trade to the best of my abilities off of ranges. So that TQs was off of a level I really liked. Took it, initially tried the long, didn't work out, took the short, and that ended up working for me. That being said, I did my whole pullback in the chair thing because I got excited. If we reject here off that 56.60s, where we had that rejection previously, someone is going to be excited, and someone will go short for that range, and that someone will be your girl. Monster, like I want to look at Monster Energy as well. They reported, if we have that rejection off of VWAP, I see slightly lower highs and a flat bottom. I like this short. I like it as a VWAP rejection. I like it as a 90 MA rejection. I like it as a lower high type thing. I like that the fact that the spread is like 1 or 2 pennies. So I really do like that. Intel, though, I'm going to have to get out of because Intel is curling up beyond what I want. And, you know, you can never Intel where something's going to go from there. So we're just going to have to get out of this trade. Bye-bye, Intel. Nice knowing you. You'll stay on my side chart if there's something I like. But yeah, sometimes you just have to manage a trade appropriately. Didn't lose too much on that. Monster, though, I think is a monster that I want to dance with here. I also want to look at Tesla because some people mentioning Tesla in the chat. Ollie said, can we please look at Tesla? People saying Tesla. Okay, Tesla. That 180 and 10, I like this.
Good luck.
I really like this.
Good luck.
This looks like a nice short, this Tesla. I think we're going to have to wait and see what it does here. We are above that 90 MA. We've had 1, 2, 3 green candles, especially with that nice little consolidation base at 170.80. So I think Tesla could go either way here. I think, of course, do your due diligence, look for whatever levels you're looking for. But for me, that 180 breakdown might have a little bit more swiftness and viciousness than that hold we had earlier.
Adara, again, GameStop's up again, and we don't know. It's 6%. I don't know what it moved yesterday. Let's see. From the low to the high, GameStonk moved almost 16% from the low to the high. Today, it's up another cool 6, 5.88 to be exact. So we're almost 6. We're kind of doing the rounded top, though. Shout out to the NOS boss and his crew. You know what the rounded top means? It's the exact opposite of what Big Kyle likes, right? So you can make those two deductions and figure that out. But anyway, 3 1/4, 3 1/3 is where VWAP is hanging out. A possible dip trade off there. You know, earlier it seemed as if the 10 period was going to feature here. You had a bit of a double bottom acting as support. Then the 20 started featuring. So I guess the next in line is VWAP. So maybe we'll set something up for the volume weighted average price. So much so, we're going to put it right there at the 1332 to activate. Let us know if the price makes its way down there. We'll look to get in VWAP. But I also want to mention AVGO. So Broadcom, shout out to Soup Soup. Soup Soup wanted me to mention AVGO. He said, great momentum, and I don't disagree. But as I told them in the chat, this one, hard to trade on a prop floor because the spread is insane, and the price is also very expensive. So, you know, levering up can be a bit of a tricky thing, especially when you're doing the show. I mean, you got to balancing so many things. So it's not the best idea to take big boy size. That is, unless you're the big kahunas. That's a different story. So AVGO, good look. High a day, 1280 printing right now. But you keep in mind that we were kind of sideways and we dropped a little bit over the past couple of days on AVGO. So make sure you are charting before you get into this monster. It will make you pay through the nose. It's very expensive, very spready. So you make sure you cross your T's and dot your I's before you get into something like that, so you can be around, all right? So I wanna also mention Dan the Man Emmons. I'm still long NQ 17.910 stop, 17.895 target 18,000 target, 18,040 target, and 18,090 target. Shout out to Dan the Man Emmons. I like all of those levels. Obviously, 18,000 is a big boy level that we're all going to be looking at here. We gave that up pretty aggressively on that CPI print last time, Adara, where came in higher than expected, and we haven't been above 18,000 cents. So
yeah, the CPI has been a killer when it comes to economic data moving these markets. Yeah. Let us tell you.
Oh yeah,
that has certainly been the case. So
NFP's kind of put a little bit of a fix on that lately with now the Fed maybe not going to raise rates. I mean, we were talking about raising rates a couple of weeks ago, which was to me cray.
Ed Bowman talked about this morning.
I heard
She's
you say
like,
that.
oh yeah, like I still kind of want to raise. I'm like, girl.
Love how you
Not
imitated
it. Not the place.
Shout out to Michelle Bowman there. All right, Adara, 18,000. We're dancing at that level right now. I was going to mention the future when I saw Dan's message there. We're dancing at a key area of resistance. Let's call a spade a spade. We topped out here last time for whatever reason, 17,990, 10 points into that 18,000 area. We did break 18,000 at 10 a.m. this morning when the market was pumping up. We got into that 50-point level, and then you saw what happened. It was a big boy reversal. But we did deal with a lot of VWAP here. There's a lot of intersection between the NQ and the volume-weighted average price today. So it does feel like that there may be some buying here, and I suspect maybe that's why Dan is long today. So shout out to him. Hope he prints. Also, I mentioned this at the top of the show, and I'm still interested in the same setup. The dead one today is back to being the dead one intraday because I'm talking about Apple. It's a joke. It's a kind of a nickname that I give it. 185 right now, an obvious area of resistance. Okay, so GameStop, I have to interrupt because GameStop is at VWAP, so my alert did go off. Let's look where GameStop is at the moment, GME. And now we just dipped into the volume-weighted average price, true to form, and we bounced right back up off there. So 13.30 was where we triggered. We bounced right back into 13.35. For whoever's interested in this trade, this is the area that you want to get in. Give it some room, though, okay? If this one wicks, I'm talking about maybe 10 pennies or so. You're going to have to do your own assessment on what you can afford. But GameStop, interesting VWAP retracement. Sorry, I had to interrupt there because the alert went off. I'm looking at a 185 break and take on AAPL. We are putting in higher lows. So ever since we retraced that 187 touch and we touched 182 and 2/3, incrementally, the lows have been higher. And we could be setting up for a flat top break through 185. Maybe the better idea here is to get a dip trade in and around 184.50. Maybe the deeper retracement, 184 1/3. So that if there is a filled break at 185, you're not paying through the nose. I think that's a better trade for me. So I'm going to set up a dip possibly here at the $0.50 or thereabouts for maybe a 185 break and take at some point in the show, Adara.
Yeah, thank you for putting that one out there. Yeah, Apple, I said, when she came in and I said about you're so very pleased as punch about Apple. So you've been eyeing that name, and then Apple flew to the upside. Tim cooking up some good stuff there. So also I do love I saw this, I think it was like the Morning Brew, this really funny tweet of like all of these like ecstatic like Tim Cook faces after that earnings report.
What's her name again?
Macy Gilliam.
I think.
She's a great Twitter follow.
Yeah.
If you want
Look, she's not associated with the show.
No, but if you want like funny financial stuff.
She's such a good actress.
She's awesome. Okay,
and she's hilarious. You know she's a stand-up comic, eh?
You told me, that makes sense.
That's why she's got that looseness in front of camera. She's good to go. They make hilarious videos. There was like a video that they made where she's texting back with Xi Jinping. She's like, like back and forth, and like she would text her.
My God, that's
she's
so
hilarious.
Funny. Yeah. So showed that out. But so Tim Cook, of course, very happy. Right now, I am meh about my trades. I'm still in Monster. This one, it's not been a monster trade for me, but I have that line drawn at that 54, 52-ish area where we had a little bit of that dip earlier. If we break above that, it's going to be a higher high, and I'm going to have to say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That being said, for the short, I am eyeing this 54.30 area. I do not have enough for beak waters. We're going to take everything there at that 54.30. Should we get to that level? Lift. What are you doing, Lift? I apparently was like a penny above. Okay, we're going to move my out here by like a penny. So I'm, like I said, I think my biggest thing is just my timing and like trying to play these things in appropriate direction. So I think if I'd ranged this a little bit better, if I'd actually maybe taken it from the bottom to the top while that range existed with more shares, this trade might have worked out better. If we stay below view up, I'm okay with staying in lift, but if not, I might have to hop out of this car, see if I can find another driver in these markets, because there are a lot of trades to take, and I just do not think I have been looking at the right names maybe, or I think maybe just looking at the right direction. So ready to find some new opportunities here. Happy I didn't take that TQ short when we got to 18,000, because that's not really the vibe I want right now. Let's look at SOXL again, because that is an ETF I've enjoyed trading as of late. I don't have a read yet. This one's kind of been mimicking the TQs, which makes sense because we have a lot of chip representation in both. So I don't want to rush into anything till I see something I like. Intel having issues with VWAP, says Pitchbull. That is a nice look to me. I know, shout out to Pitchbull. I know you were range trading this one earlier. Yeah, this is, if we reject that VWAP, this could actually be a decent range here into 30.76, but it's one, again, I want to wait for. I feel like I have not been approaching these ranges properly lately. I've been seeing the ranges and then playing everything except the ranges. So it's like you gotta get back to basics, get into a strategy that I like there.
Eric brought his kid. That's so cute. All right. I wanted to mention one quick thing here. Yeah, why Brothers United? Tesla and AMD bag holders are crying. They will cry for a few months. Look, it wouldn't be the first time Tesla shorts have been crying. I mean, look at what happened between 20 to 2022. It was a tough look for them. We'll keep eyes on both AMD and TSLA. AMD up 2.25%. With a 150 resistance level on the day. 149.96 is the HOD on INTC. It's at 149.5 right now. Not one that I trade often, right? You all know that. But if 150 features again and it rejects, I'll absolutely want to get into that. All right, let's look at these here markets. Again, coming into that 18,000 general area, Ram, and we were not able to take that level. So another couple of topping tail candles coming in for whatever reason south of 18. And you can't say that you didn't expect that. I mean, 18,000 is a level that requires a certain level of respect when you get to it, either as support or resistance. So the fact that we're not breaking it with swiftness is not surprising to me. I don't know. I think this double bottom could be telling. We could possibly take it later, or this could be a sideways range with 17.9 as support and 18 as resistance. If that's the case, if we make it down into 17.9, I'm going to take a long on 17.9, right? But then you could say to me, okay, Sharif, if you're convinced that we're going to trend down, why are you not shorting into 17.9? That's a good question. Because I think it's because we're up 1.86% on the day, and I don't want to get run over. That's the thing. So I'm just thinking out loud here, guys, and you guys are going to share some of my thoughts. All right, Meta back into 450 again, right back into the 20 period. However, I am a little bit suspicious of this trade now because we're putting in higher lows. So we were talking about the 20 period being that deeper area for the retracements, the 10 being the more shallow. Well, that's predicated upon the trend continuing in that direction. And right now, that higher low is not making me feel all that good, even though you have the lower highs. The lower high is not making me feel that good. The higher low is making me feel pretty decent about it. So keeping an eye on that. Bhavin Patel. Is there any news on Ben F? It's up 300%. My man, we covered it. Oh, you want the news? Here it is. Beneficient shares are trading higher after the company announced it regained compliance with the NASDAQ. That typically, brother, is a reverse split. So once their stock goes under $1, they're technically in violation of the NASDAQ listing rules. After so long of a period of being under $1, they get a letter from the NASDAQ, and Adina, what's her name? Adina something or another. She's the president of the NASDAQ, right? Or is she the NYSE president?
I don't know.
Yeah, anyway, we'll look at it after. But you heard Adina something or another. Anyway, so they'll get a letter for them, and you'll have to get above $1. So one way to do that is to reverse split, so you can artificially increase your share price, and sometimes that has the effect of getting a lot of eyes on it. So that's really why it's up there. So we'll keep eyes on that. 450 is holding right here on Meta, and it did bounce off the 20 again. So seems like it's a rinse and repeat level.
Yeah, speaking of rinsing and repeating, I think the ranges have finally started to work out a little bit for me here again. So please just punch, because those are really my favorite types of trades to take. And I also think that the trades that I I kind of feel the most comfortable in and that I think I sometimes have the most success in. Right now, Monster, you know, I'd like it to be a little bit more of a monster. Right now, it's kind of like the equivalent of, like the Monster right now for me is a monster trade the way that Shrek is like scary. Like, I'm like, I need this to be like an actual monster. I need like some horror movie level stuff happening in this trade for me. I want a nice monster trade. That analogy got lost about 10 times along the way, but it's all good. I like this short still. We got, initially, I almost panic sold here, as we got into 54.50, but then I looked at my level and I said, Adara, that's not the level you drew. Breathe, keep calm, carry on, stay involved. So if we get to that base here, 54.30, I am outie, but I also was proud of what I did with lift here. Got out some of this initially here, 17.50, we broke a little bit lower, then we bounced with a viciousness on that nice volume candle on no news, and I said, Adara, you got to skedaddle. So I hopped out of that card, I tipped my driver, and I left the lift trade. Please just punch with what I did with this one. Might get back involved if there's another short here off the 9 EMA or VWAP. But right now, I enjoyed the ride, but now we're going to be getting out of the car. If there anyone else seeing any other trades to keep an eye on here, let us know. Yeah, Sebastian, what happened to my short on lift is I got out because I did not like that massive move back into 17.55 with outsized volume and no news. So that's not something I like. Lift reporting next week along with its competitor Uber. So that could be let's look at Uber today, actually. Uber's not one I look at very much. And
yeah, Neve,
I want to
same,
look at it.
actually.
Uber, what are you doing? Uber! Speaking of
Love
range.
when you do that.
Okay. Uber.
It's her thing, bro.
VWAP bounce. Hello. Okay, Uber, you know what? You're replacing your competitor Lyft on the side chart because right now, Lyft is just in a little bit of a free fall, and I'm not really sure the direction that car is going in. But Uber, I see something I like. So if we bounce off the VWAP, I think I'm going to get involved. Shout out again to Jack Burton in the chat here for telling me about that Lyft trade and that Lyft move. And shout out to everybody for sharing your thoughts. This is such a fun community to be a part of. Ahmed Amwala, thank you so much for the $17.99 AED super chat. Just long coin, no reason for the drop. Yeah, Coinbase, those earnings were pretty good numbers-wise. I remember yesterday there were a lot of people in the chat on the market recap when we got those numbers like, what is happening? This is trend-wise, though. This one kind of on a continued downward move. That being said, we did get a nice little move back up here, resting on 12.19, kind of a random level here for us to dance around. So nice look here for coin. I want to look at ConL because that is the 1.5 long Coinbase shares. I do like this. I actually, you know what I realized? It's not even that we're resting. I'm going to go back to Coinbase. It's not even that we're resting on 219. It's that we're rejecting off that previous support at 222. So 222 for Coinbase could actually be, oddly enough, a bit of a level. We had the rejection at 222. Now we're coming in, support at 222. Now we're rejecting at 222. Pre-market support, confluence. I think this could be a level to watch out for on Coinbase. What we do at 222. And I might get my ConL out because this might be a trade I want. How are you doing?
Just a second. I lost my window, so I have no idea where my window is, and I don't know where the hell it went.
I can keep talking.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. Yeah, Monster, nothing is happening on Monster. I wish I had something to report. I do not. What were these other? Oh, yeah, we had DraftKings. Let's take a look at DraftKings. Let's see what we're doing. Okay. Oh. Sorry for the noise there. This DraftKings could get spicy if we bounce here off that 42 area, which it looks like we might. Kind of came down there. I like previous levels, so if this holds up, this could be nice. However, though, we are overwhelmingly to the downside. We had that rejection off that pre-market level here at 44 or thereabouts, so that could get a little bit interesting. I want to kind of wait and see what DraftKings does. SQ had a range earlier that I completely missed out on. I'm going to switch to the 3-minute because I think it's clear in the 3-minute. This 3-minute range. And then rejection off VWAP. I saw this at the big desk, and I was like, but yeah, continuing to the downside now, basically just kind of, I guess, continued moves down. This is not really a trade that I have anything in, but that Uber's looking spicy. That ConL might be something with that 222 on coin. And of course, I will still be having my eyes on the king, Mr. Donkey Kong, DKNG. What else are people looking at here?
Sorry, Adara. I'm just waiting for this thing to load because it shut down on me and I can't see any of my charts. So.
Yeah, charts are where the heart is here.
Well, I'm a chart trader, right?
Yeah,
so.
especially on a trading show, right? So yeah, got to get those charts going. Amazon long, says Adam DeLuz. Let's take a look at this. I haven't really traded a lot of my old mega cap pals since going live. Oh, this is nice. This space at 185.80. Okay, thank you, Amazon. Adam DeLuz for pointing this out. I think this is a really nice base here off that 185.80 area. Not one that I think I would trade unless I had a ton of comfort and confidence and levels I was like super obsessed with in terms of risks. The thing is here, this base, the way that it is, I think if we free fall, I don't really know where my stop loss would be. So I have to consider this a little bit more, especially since going live. But thank you very, very much, Adam DeLuce, for the recommendation here with Amazon. I think that could express deliver a nice winner here.
Right,
overnight delivery on the A to the M to the Z to the N. Carvana, some people ask. CVNA on the NY. Let's see. Carvana. Okay, now we're good to go, but that Carvana VWAP bounce is gorgeous, and I can't believe we're talking Carvana 122. What are you talking?
I'm talking SGBX, long already at 74s, wet my beak nicely at the top 80s. Now I'm waiting for a 7 break. Small cap gapper, idea is super simple. With this one, it was a VWAP retracement, and that is the entire reason for the move here, for the entry. Sorry, not the move. The move is because it's a reverse split. We already talked about that. Here we go. We're going to get into my last little entry. I'm waiting. Bang, there it is in the high 90s. Happy about this. I'm going to show you on the chart a little bit better, and there you go. Rejects right off 7 expected. So sorry, all my charts have reset because I had to reload yesterday's layout. So you'll have to just bear with me for a second. Here is the chart on SGBX, and I put my alert at the volume weighted average price. Thankfully here, VWAP was horizontal, not diagonal to the high side. If that had been the case, then I'd likely would have not been triggered into this because I wouldn't be shadowing VWAP with my alert, right? Because VWAP's moving up, but it was horizontal, so I didn't have that problem. Got the notification that it dipped into VWAP. I was really late to the party, got into the high 60s. The VWAP dip here is below 50, came into 42 or 43. So, you know, really, with these small gap gappers, 5 seconds can cost you 20 pennies, even more, okay? On a $6 name, which is a lot. So anyway, got in, and then we bounced up into 7, so that was the end of the trade right there. Now, I could have held a piece for the dream, and if we start curling up, maybe test 8, you have a triple top at 8 after getting to 9 1/3. 8 is definitely acting as an area of resistance. If this comes back in the VWAP, I don't know if second or third time is going to be a charm, but I'll be watching it. I'll be watching it.
Every move it makes. Way too high for
Every day we sing, and every day someone roasts us in the chat, and we don't care.
We like
just
singing.
keep coming back and singing again, right?
And we don't sing just on the show. We sang this morning the Wham classic, Wake Me Up Before You Go Go.
Yes, yes. Oh
So, and then we realized we both had it in our heads after because we were both humming it.
I feel bad for Neil, too. Like, he has to put up with this.
He's
The
just
thing
bopping.
is, it's me, Adara, and Neil for almost 45 minutes in the morning. We're like the first people that come in. And no, not even. Brendo comes in like 20 minutes early.
Yeah.
Brendo's super quiet. What happened?
Oh, because Ramin cuts to Neil there for a second.
Oh, and he was eating. Get him again. Ram's like, it was an accident. It was an accident. Uh-oh. Neil's getting up. Neil's
he's
getting
going
up.
over there.
Uh-oh.
Beef.
Ram could be in trouble here.
You know what's for lunch? It's not chicken, it's beef. That's what's for lunch today.
Good times. Oh my God, man. It is a Friday. You can feel every minute of a Friday.
Every
today.
energy in this room is spelling Friday.
Oh yeah.
Every,
100%.
Every molecule.
Oh yeah.
And we love it.
So yeah, that's why I got into SGBX, guys. Keep your eyes on VWAP, on that name. I've lost all my small cap capper chart. I'm gonna have to remake them again, so I have nothing to really report about right now. Let's flip back and look at some of these large cappers quick. Nothing has changed. No Apple, still below 185. Amazon, sorry, not Amazon. Goggles, okay. So here's a possible short trade here. Now, Goggles looks a little weak, especially as relative to the market. It's the only Mag 7 name on the day that's red. Google, okay? Now, we know what's been happening with Google. It's been kind of looking to fill that gap into 160 ever since printing big boy off earnings. But the fact of the matter is, it's down and to the right today. And now it's coming back up, and it's finding a key area of resistance. That area happens to be that red solid line, not the dotted line, the solid line. That's the 50-period exponential moving average. And you've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 rejections on the 5 at the 50. They didn't make it right into the 50, but generally that area. So I'm going to be looking to see whether we can get short on goggles here. Now, the range is tightening up a little bit. It's been kind of a 165.75 top within this range, and at the best, it's going to give you 165. So 75 pennies at the best, but for the most part, it's about 50 pennies here, with the $0.25 being that bottom end of the range. So Google, looking weak. I'm definitely interested to take this monster short if it shows its hand and rejects off the 50 period again. All right, we made another attempt, Dara, at 18,000 here. We did break it. We got into 18,005, but we're down now. Now, we're down below it now. But however, we are putting in incrementally higher lows. So the momentum could be changing here a little bit. I'm gonna need to see more though, personally, to see, to be confident that it's gonna be an 18,000 break and take. So we'll continue to watch that. So I'll send it to you now, as I got to put up all my charts again because this thing sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say a quick shout out. I'm always shutting up viewers here because we have such a great community. Manuel Palma called this 35 VWAP hold and push up here on IBIT. I missed that, but hopefully you got a bit of profit here on IBIT, Manuel Palma, because it's a nice look. But that reminded me, I'm like, what about these miners? What kind of marathon are we running here on Mara, which reports next week after the close? Mara, Bitcoin's up and Mara's like, what are you talking about? Because Mara is in its own world. What was that voice? Mara is dazed and confused. Mara is heading to the downside, and I'm getting short.
We don't have BPI
here.
To give us.
Yeah, we don't have the Mara indicator, but I think I'm going to be my own. Oh, I can't short Mara. Okay.
To pay for shorts, eh?
Yeah, well, it hasn't always
shorts?
been, but.
Do you want me to find? Neil can get them for you.
Yeah,
well, maybe you should find out how much they cost.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure it out if I want shorts here on Mara. But I am not at all opposed to the idea of going short Mara here. I like this look. Intel, though, apparently, let's look at it. Oh yeah, Intel, I should have taken that VWAP short here because I think that was the range. If we have another bounce here, shout out to Pitchbull taking this range trade. If we have another bounce here off 30.77s, I'll get out. But really, I was proud of myself for just getting out where I did here. Risked a couple pennies, not a big loser here. But Uber falling. I should have taken the top of that range short here, but I was like, well, I don't know. We broke above that 70.26 with a lot of viciousness. Now we're falling to the downside here. If we bounce, I like this look.
He got you shorts.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So I think we're gonna try to take. Thank you very much to Neil there. I don't like this little not topping tail candle. I don't like I want to see what we do here again at 55s, but I do like the idea of going short Mara here. So thank you very much, Neil, for the shorts. I appreciate that.
Neil.
Gonna pull on the denim shorts for this nice weather and probably take Mara to the downside.
And it's short weather outside, I can promise you that.
It is.
Oh, yeah. It's big boy short weather outside. And Ram is very happy about that. Yes, as am I, because the weather is really holding up outside, guys, and the breeze is just fantastic. So anybody who is in the greater Toronto area, get outside and smell that beautiful air. And yeah, whatever. All right, Ram, let's look at the future over here as we're doing the dance again at 18,000. The thing is, though, again, we've been talking a lot about this. Look at the overlap between NVIDIA's chart and the NQ. They both have support at the 50. They both have very similar peaks and troughs. It's unbelievable how much overlap there is between the two charts as of late. Whether or not you take that to your advantage is a different story. So, okay, decisions. I don't have any trades on at the moment. I got to tell you the truth. I don't have my small cap gapper chart because of the reset over here. But yeah, I don't have any trades. What are you guys looking at? Who's trading BENF? Neil is ready? Okay. So we will talk more about that when we get back from Neil's lesson of the day.
Welcome to the lesson of the day. The lesson of the day, don't bet against the Toronto Maple Leafs when their back is against the wall, because they represent, that's what they do. Go Leafs, go. That said, that's absolutely not the lesson of the day. No, I wanted to talk about something which came up today in the morning show, and the notion of, hey, when you're wrong, or maybe we talk about like a tough market, or the opportunities you're looking for aren't there, and everything creeps into the same morning or the same day, and you just don't have a lot of great opportunities or a lot of great reads, what kind of a day do you have? Now, there's some traders out there where the notion of a flat day, and when I say a flat day, I mean a day that maybe you're up a tiny amount, like 1/10 of a normal, of a regular good day, or 25%, or up or down a fraction of what you would normally consider a decent day. Those are those flat days. And then there's days for a prop trader we call like shutdown. Now, if you're trading at home in retail, maybe you have like an individual loss limit that you set for yourself. If you're on a trading floor, you're going to have a loss limit that's set by the firm. So there's shutdown days, but if you're going to have a day that's not necessarily good, it could be a bad day or just a day that you have a bad read, you want some of them to be flat days. And I'm going to tell you from watching traders year after year for the last 20 years, there's a lot of individual trading issues like constantly averaging in or averaging down into losing trades, or putting too much risk into strategies that are unproven. Like those types of things are commonalities in terms of why a trader will fail. Now, non-strategy related, the inability to have flat days is also a problem. In 20 years, I have seen one trader and one trader alone who had the issue of when they lose almost everything. So like 70 to 80% of his red days were shutdown days. And this trader actually managed to survive for actually over 10 years, and he had over a decade career, which was great, but eventually it caught up with him. Sometimes it's about how well you can limit the loss in a trade, and look for the reasons and strategies that can help you limit the loss when you might be wrong. So the first one I want to get to is something that looked like it was setting up for a bit of a disaster. Ended up being okay, but it's part of the reason I wanted to talk about it. If you like a stock and a trade at a certain level, buying support, selling resistance, one of the things that can help you in terms of not turning it into a disaster is if it's trending against you. And it's a simple thing. You know, like here on Intel, and obviously it ended up going down, but at the time it was showing some signs of being a problem. So I liked it off 31. You can see it, Powell and all that good stuff, holding the market up there, and then it dumped a couple of days ago on the Fed number. And then today it rejected in the pre-market on an economic number. It rejected 31 off of the open. So I'm shorting back underneath 31. It's making another attempt at the high, and I'm shorting it again. Now what it did next is why you did not see me take this short here. Like it broke 31. After I got some out, it touched VWAP and came back, looked like it was gonna give me another opportunity. And here, got a couple of profit takes, and then it tagged 31 again. Now the problem at that point is you were making higher lows, and relative to the market at the time and the other chip names, it was a little bit strong. So in terms of if it's going to turn out wrong, do I want to be constantly loading up into it when I'm still holding half the position? My answer was no. And it's about mitigating the risk in that situation. Yeah, the level is good. And every time it wicks it, I'm taking the short back underneath 31 and it's working out. But this time it's putting in the higher lows a little bit stronger than its cohorts. So I don't need that reload in there. Why? Because then I've only taken a little bit out, and then I'm going back into a full position. Suddenly, if it breaks the top, I've turned what was a good area into a losing trade, and I did so against the trend. It's one thing if you're shorting a flat top and it's giving you the same range over and over again. It can be another thing if it's giving you successive lower highs. Or, you know, higher lows, I should say, in this particular case. Lower highs if it's the other way around. And I'll give you another example of this on ARM. One which, I mean, obviously Intel then went to the bottom, came back, showed me the same weakness. Now all of a sudden I like it because you kind of retested that low, showed me that you had some sellers underneath VWAP and continued all the way through. Then I don't mind reloading that up at the top because it looked a little bit better. I'll give you another example, but this case is let's get out at VWAP. Looking for a home run trade on the short wick of ARM, and the second time through, this just holds VWAP, bucking all of the trend. And now this is a strong stock, and it's a very similar thing. Like I was shorting it off an old resistance level. When it turned right around here was a big pivot spot on the last of the month in April. It came right through, gave me the wick top, but suddenly you have the same sort of pattern. Yeah, is it a good short? Sure, it's a good short. It gives you right back into VWAP, but it makes higher low holding VWAP. So if it comes back up there again, I got two approaches. One would be I have to allow it to get up, fail back under, and take less shares, or just don't short it at all. because it's giving me signs that the trend is going in the other direction. It is so much easier that once a trend is established, to just try to join it and not fight it, right? Like this is an example, square, something trending down. And obviously, you're gonna see situations where like on ARM, you might have this short, it breaks down and completely falls apart and you're like, that's great. You get it like the third and fourth time up here and eventually it breaks down. But in the back of your mind, you gotta remember it's trending in the other direction. And if you constantly work against that trend, you have to be more and more disciplined as you do. And taking profits so that eventually if it goes, you're not in a losing trade or you're just losing a small portion of what you've already won. That's part of the game. That's how you can turn something which was a good but not perfect read into a still positive trade, or at worst, a small losing trade. We always say adhere to your stops. Of course, that's another point of discipline. If you have a stop level, just adhere to it. You're going to lose on trades. It happens. Just get out when that's wrong. But the other thing you can do for yourself is when the market or the stock is telling you something a little bit different from what your thought is, or what your preference is, or what your strategy is, or what your bias is, that you do a better job of listening to it on those days. Because you're not always going to be perfect. Sometimes you're half right. Sometimes you're a quarter right. Like here at ARM, got the level right, had the direction right of what to do at that price. But overall, it's not a bearish stock. So I'm right about where to short it, and I'm right about when to short it. But it's still a bullish pattern on the morning. And when that's the case, that's not the thing you want to go to the grave with. It doesn't make any sense, because that's not the A+ at that point to keep going back to that well over and over. It's a simple way to make sure that you bank profits when you're only 70% right or 60% right, and that you don't turn it into a losing trade when you're 30 or 40% right. You want to reward yourself for your best decisions, but you also want to be sure that when you have a decent decision, you don't just completely blow it up. You get a little something out of it. There is nothing wrong with a flat day. If I have a day where my read wasn't good and I'm not up or down anything, that's a good day, because the market probably taught me something. And at the end of the day, I could have been down in that situation. Do not let one trade blow you up. Do not let one down day be the end of your week or the end of your month. Heed the trend. Have subtle adjustments that you can make so that you don't find yourself in a spot where the market gave you enough signs that you could have tempered risk and you did not do so. There's nothing wrong with a flat day and a small loss. You didn't waste your time just because you didn't swing for the fences. Sometimes you've got to be able to limit the damage, because that's the best you can do. So that's your lesson of the day. Have a flat day every now and then. Not every bad day has to be a disastrous day. And that's one thing I know that's kept me around for 20 years trading, and hopefully it can for you guys as well. Take care.
The Chilean Nightmare was just showing him some stuff. I'm also long now. I'm long Apple apparently. Okay. So that's why I was worried about this whole thing, about not being able to see my blotter. All right, let's see exactly what this Apple trade is doing. All right, so my trade on Apple here was for a 50-period dip. That was the entire point of this trade. I'm long 38s. It's now at a quarter. I don't think this is the right trade. I'm going to put in my stop for the break. I'm going to have to get out here. Yeah, this is not the right trade that I wanted. So that's it. So we take the L there on Apple. Again, the whole idea was for the 50-period trade, but it looks like it's a 184 level that is holding up. So let's go ahead here. I'm going to put in an order for 184.05 to defend that level. We'll see what we get. ARDX, this one is a small cap gapper, and it came into the volume weighted average price. That's what precipitated me to get into this. So you have some bottoming tail candles here, showing that there is a bit of tug of war between sellers, and we know we had intersection at this price all morning. Initially from topping tails and rejecting, then we took it with viciousness. So we're right back at that 8.5. I want to see if we curl back up. I've already put my beak wetter and my stop. So for this trigger is below the $8.50 level. That's going to be the end of the trade there. So take a little bit of an unplanned trade there on AAPL. It was planned, but I wasn't alive to it. And yeah, that cost me. That cost me a little bit of money there. So I'm going to look to defend 184 on AAPL. I like that level a little bit better than the 50-period moving average there.
Yeah, I mean, I have to thank you to Neil for getting me those shorts there on Mara. Once again, I am so happy with this trade. I took it short. I had the shorts, then I was like, hey, well, maybe it's going back up. And I was talking to Sharif there. Sharif's like, well, watch what it does at VWAP, right? And so we didn't even get to VWAP. We made this decisively lower high. I like this area, so I took it short. What I am watching is, I say for whatever reason, but actually there is a reason. This 1740 is weirdly holding as support, but it's not that weird. When you look at earlier, we did have some support at 1740. So if we don't break above the 1740, or if we keep bouncing here, I'm gonna have to get out here. But I'm risking about 10 pennies into that 1760. I guess 9 pennies. Either way, the point remains, I'm trying to make more here than I am risking, and I haven't actually had to risk much yet because we never really got above that area. I was lucky enough that I was able to just get in, and it continued to fall to the downside here. So hopefully we continue our downhill marathon, and I like that we just broke below 40s.
Nice.
Like I said, that was the area I wanted to see. So I am pleased as punch, may I say. Also, I was talking about, speaking of punch, this Monster Energy. I was saying to Sharif, there was no energy in this stock. No caffeine. This is like caffeine-free Diet Coke. I don't know. I did not enjoy this trade. And I liked this too because we had lower highs and a flat bottom. I was like, oh, I'm just going to take this range. I'll be in and out in a lickety split. I want to get out at that 54. Why am I talking like I'm from the 50s?
All good.
I want to get out at that 54.30. And Monster was like, what are you talking about? We didn't get to 54.30. I realized we're having these slightly higher lows. So I said, I set this area. I keep watching what we do here at 54.38. I said it. I go to the bathroom. I come back. It gets filled. I'm like, perfect. I don't have to look at the stock again. But I wanted to address this because I haven't really talked about this trade much, and it's because it did a whole lot of nothing. Like Sharif was like, I didn't even know you were in Monster Energy.
No.
And I said, that is very understandable because it did nothing, so I didn't really chat about it. But Mara doing something back above 40s, though, so I might, we're going to have to just wait and see what we do here at 40s. So people were asking about AMD short. I apologize. I was a little bit late to the party in this. This came before the Neil's lesson of the day, which shout out to Neil for always having the great lessons. I know everyone in the chat really enjoys them, and I learn from them as well. But yeah, this AMD 147.60, 147.75 level is the level here for AMD, continuing to push to the upside, now bouncing off that 9 EMA. And this actually was really bamboozling because it could have shaped up like a flat bottom break because we had these lower highs, but it didn't. AMD was like, eh. We had the little VWAP waffling around. Then it decided, I'm not a waffle, I'm a pancake. Made a decisive move to the upside. That was a really mixed analogy. It is a Friday, and I do need some more caffeine.
It's all good.
Right now in Mara, and looking for some other opportunities, that DraftKings curl could be interesting. And Mara, if you want to decisively break that 1740 and stay below 1740, you've got a friend in me. Shout out to Toy Story for some reason. How are you doing?
Good. I fat-fingered my entire position at an ARDX. So profitable trade, but I made a boo-boo. And well, I'm really disappointed about that because I had a fantastic entry, bottom wick at that 55 penny area, and now it's at 66s. So I made a mistake, but that's on me. And we'll try to do better, but I had the right idea here. Now, back to AAPL because I was kind of like kicking myself. I'm like, Sharif, you got out bottom wick, right? And then it popped back up, but it's right back out where I got down. Now, my plan doesn't change on Apple. If the 50 period is not working here, I'm looking to defend 184. I put my order already out for that 184. I put an alert on the side chart here to let me know when it comes close to that level so that I'm alive to the fact of when I get in. Because look, if you're not looking at your blotter using this software, you're not aware of whether you're in a position or not. So that's a problem that I've had while I'm on the show because I have so many different windows. I can't seem to find room for my blotter. So that's why we're using these alerts. But I think it's going to help a little bit. Anyway, I think we're really having a whole bunch of trouble right now with the future. I mean, how long are we going to accumulate at 18,000 for? And now we're kind of putting in, not by a long shot here, but we're incrementally putting in lower lows. So it looks like we're doing that rounded top right now at the future. I mean, I don't want to stand in front of this thing. It's up 1.9% to take it short, to think that I know better than the market, and I definitely don't. But something, there's accumulation here, it looks like. We'll see how this one ends up working out. But I'll look to take AAPL, and again, it's distorted the chart. Oh, goodness gracious, this chart. The wicks are going to be the death of me on this thing. So where are we, the low over here? We are at 184.18. So I can change that over here. There we go, 184.18, and that should There we go. Now it's not distorted. All right, let's get to the lesson du jour. Last day, we're talking today about the gap and go strategy. Specifically, we're going to talk about technicals, how to use technicals for the gap and go strategy, and to add some confluence to your trading. So the gap and go strategy is a popular way to capitalize on strong price movements in intraday trading, but relying solely on gaps can be a bit risky. So this lesson explores how to integrate technical indicators with the gap and go strategy for a more comprehensive approach. So let's get right into that. So beyond the gap, right? While gaps offer valuable insights, they can be misleading at times. Technical indicators look to provide additional data points to help confirm the validity of the gap and go opportunity. So here's how to combine them. First and foremost, you're going to look for stocks that are gapping up. You're going to identify the gap. As usual, start by finding stocks with significant gaps up or gaps down, whether you're looking long or short, that are happening at the open, accompanied by high volume. Whether you're going long or short, you should be looking for high volume to accompany the gap. And as I've done in the past, I'll do it again. Get yourself a scanner over here and enter the parameters of the scanner to your liking. If you want to trade large caps for the gaps, filter by 100 billion upwards. If you want to trade those mid caps, do that as well. But make sure that your gaps or your scanner has a gap column over here so that you can identify how much or if something is gapping up or down. Okay. Once you do that, you're going to select your indicators. And so what I talked about last time around is to select indicators that you're already familiar with. You don't want to start learning anew here to try to fit it into the gap and go strategy. If you're going to do that, if you're going to learn new indicators, you need to kind of figure it out in the sim first. Paper trade, make sure that you have a firm understanding of the indicators. So choose your technical indicators that complement the gap and go strategy. Here are some popular options. Moving averages, relative strength index. These can confirm the overall direction. Like for example, an upward for bullish gaps, downward for bearish gaps. Those aren't the only ones. There's momentum indicators, things like moving average, convergence, divergence, MACD. For short, your stochastic oscillators as well also help determine momentum and gauge the strength of the trend behind the gap. But there's also support and resistance indicators, things like Bollinger Bands, pivot points. These can all help identify potential entry and exit points based on historical price levels. So I'll show you quickly here what they look like. Bollinger Bands are these kind of, zigzag. They're not zigzaggy. They're kind of squiggly lines that ensconce the price action from above and below. And then they have a 20-period exponential moving average in the middle. That is their midpoint. So oftentimes, if something's trading above the 20, you're looking more long mine. If it's trading below, you're looking more short. That's a very rudimentary explanation. After you select your indicators, you're going to interpret the signals. So what you're doing here is you're analyzing. Let me see where Apple is. Oh, it's at that 50 penny level. You're analyzing indicators alongside the gap. Ideally, indicators should support the direction implied by the gap. For example, a bullish gap should be accompanied by rising moving averages or an upward sloping RSI. So what I mean to say here is, if you're looking at a gap up, say on Tesla, Tesla's gapping up, 3%. But you're looking at all the indicators on multiple time frames, the moving averages, and they're not pointing up that much. Maybe they're horizontal, they're pointing down. The RSI is still in overbought territory, or you're below the 20 EMA on the stochastics, whatever it is. Look for confluence between the gap and what the technical indicators are looking for you. For pivot points, are you opening above or below pivots? Are you above resistance level 1? So you want to make sure that there is confluence between them. And here is a great example of the support and resistance analysis with your gaps. You have a big gap up there. You have support at the initiation of the gap, and you come right back into that level, and guess what? You hold it. So keep your eye on these support and resistance indicators as well. And here's a great example of an RSI indicator with gaps. So you gap up, and then the RSI, as a result of the gap, goes into overbought territory. And what ends up happening is you end up reversing. So keep your eye on that. So the benefits of combining some of these indicators with the gap and go are several. So you reduce your false signals. Technical indicators can help filter out misleading gaps and identify stronger trend continuation. So that's really important as well. Oh, I'm short ARDX. What the hell is going on here?
I can take over.
Let me just see what's going on. Where is my ARDX? Okay, I'm for what? Why the hell was I short there? Why was there an order to go short? I stop. Yeah, that's probably. I didn't think that they could flip. Anyway, I'm only like 2 pennies out of the money, so I'll just flatten it here. That's okay. No big deal. Let me just make sure all my orders are out. All right, so I'm gonna have to cancel my Apple order, but I'm alive to the Apple order. I just want to make sure. I want to make sure there's no other orders here. 1 second.
No worries.
All right. Yeah, I'm good to go. We're good to go.
Perfect.
All right, so right back to the lesson. So the benefits of combining reduced false signals. Technical indicators can help filter out misleading gaps and identify stronger trend continuations, but they can also help confirm the trend. So indicators can highlight the momentum behind a gap, giving you more confidence for entering the trade. And it also helps you improve your entry and exit points, whether you're using pivots or otherwise. Technical analysis can suggest potential entry and exit points based on support and resistance levels, or even overbought or oversold on the RSI, or moving average convergence divergence. And some key considerations to keep in mind: your indicator selection. Choose indicators that suit your trading style and a risk tolerance. There's no one size fits all, as I mentioned at the top. Either practice the newer indicators that you want to employ in the sim, or use ones that you're already familiar with and know how to employ. And your indicator overload is a real thing. Don't rely too much on indicators. Focus on the few that complement your gap and go strategy. I would suggest using something with overbought, oversold to complement that. And confirmation is not a guarantee. Even with the support of the indicators, gaps and trends can and do reverse. Always, manage risk with your stop loss orders. And the context in which you're trading, equally as important. Consider different types of gaps. That week that we did on gaps, go back to the YouTube homepage, type in gaps on our Trader TV YouTube homepage, and all the lessons that Adair and I did on gaps will show up. There's things like common gaps, continuation gaps, exhaustion gaps, breakaway, runaway gaps. There's all these different types of gaps. You have to understand them all and the context in which they appear so you know how to trade them a bit better, right? So that is the lesson for now. I hope that helps. And now let's get back to your regular scheduled programming of trading, baby. Apple, right back into that 184.5. I did not get triggered on my 184.05 dip. It dipped into 184.13. It didn't trigger my 05. So I'm going to go unfilled for now on Apple and keeping one eye on whatever Mag 7 name I'm trading and one eye on the future because we're still accumulating right now at 18,000.
Yeah, I did a thing here at 18,000. I don't know if I did a good thing at 18,000, but I did a thing, and it is a planned 10 penny short scalp. Now, you might be like, Adair, that is a lot of excitement for 10 whole pennies, dime club. But no, I do like the fact that we are resting, sitting pretty at this level. This was the top earlier, then it was a little bit of resistance, now it's support. I will take my 10 pennies and I will run for the hills like a gleeful child, ready to buy candy because that's all you could buy for like 10 pennies. I'll go to Bulk Barn, whatever, but analogy getting away from me. The point remains, I like the TQs. I like this short. Also, I got out Amara. I was happy with this, and I'm happy I got it where I did as well. And this is, I talk a lot about scalpulation. What I mean when I say scalpulation is it's like basically just having a level, but also being ready to run if I'm not seeing things I like on the tape or in the book. So, for example, got involved here at this short. Thanks again to Neil for getting me the locates for that. Then I got out part of this at that 1740 because we kept struggling with that area. Then when we pushed back above that 1740, I was like, Adair, take your profits and go home. So we took the profits and went home here at that 1745. So that's really with scalpulations, having an idea, having a plan, and building your risk to reward ratio off of that plan, but also being ready to adapt. So, you know, like being an improv comedian or whatever, like ready to go on stage and move things as you have to. So happy with what I did with that Mara. Not one I have any more reads on right now. Mostly just trying to extricate myself from my TQs, which it looks like we're a couple pennies away from. So we're not going to just stare at this as it goes to the down. So let's see how Monster Energy is doing. I'm looking for stuff. I assume it will be as uninteresting as it was earlier. Yeah, okay, so I think I was accidentally on the 3-minute chart today. I think that's what was happening. But Monster Energy right now trying to bounce here off of VWAP, but more or less in the same range. I was trading it earlier, so I don't have a lot of reads on this. My chart went, when it accidentally closed when you try to go to the daily and then came back. So I'm still getting accustomed to all of my my time frames and such on my charts. But right now, yeah, don't have a read on much except for my TQs and ready to see what the market is going to do.
All right, I'm short goggles at the 50 period. We'll see what we get here come what may. But this was a level that I talked about earlier. We were talking about goggles, finding a bit of resistance at that 165.75 or the 50 period. It wasn't immediately clear exactly what was rejecting off. I've already put in my stop. It looks like it's going to go against me here. It's in the 70s, so I'm not, well, I think that this is valid until it breaks 87. So I think I may have to adjust my stop because that's where the pivot point is. We'll see. We'll see exactly what we get. If I get stopped out, I don't mind getting right back in. So I don't have to adjust for that at the moment. But that's the trade I'm in right now. We'll see if we get that rejection off the 50 period on Google. But as I look at my scanner, SGBX, that trade that we were in, is just hugging VWAP. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. 6 1/3 is the low, coming off that 6 1/2 right now, going into 6 2/3. This one's got a lot of range, guys. I mean, like, we opened up below 3. We touched almost 9 1/3 on the day. So this has been a very kind of really wide ranging stock, though it is kind of putting in lower highs right now, which kind of makes you feel like this might flat bottom break, but the way that it just keeps bouncing off VWAP, you kind of feel that there's a buyer on the other side of that. So we'll keep watching that. These are the small cappers that I'm watching. ARDX took that bath through, and that's why we got triggered on that. And that was probably a mistake on ARDX because it ended up tanking off that level. So where is it? Well, that was this was not a planned short. Sorry, that was because I had a script order to get stopped out for this order over here. So that's why that happened. Yeah, you got to clean up your orders, otherwise you'll find yourself like me in trouble. So yeah, it looks like goggles is not pumping up at the time. So right back into my entry goes goggles, and I'll be looking for my first beak wetters at that $0.50. So if we make it into the $0.50, or what my beak on that. The incredible Mr. Lib. Carvana for the win, bro. Okay. Second day play. I like it. Vana obviously reported a couple of days ago, and they did awfully well. Let's load up the chart on Vana and have a look at what Mr. Lib has been doing there on his side of things. CVNA, see what Carvana has been up to on the day. So it's continuing. Beautiful. Third day continuation. I guess May 1st, May 2nd, then today, May 3rd. Let's look at the 5-minute look here on the Vana. Are we above yesterday's high? Yes, we are. So yesterday's high happened right over here at the, this is the aftermarket. That's not the, this is yesterday's high. That's Wednesday's high.
Wednesday night.
Yeah, thank you. So Wednesday high, that 122 1/3, so we're well above that now. We got into 123 and almost a half. This is the 1-minute look right now on Vana. Great look for you, Mr. Lib. To the high side goes Vana. Looks like it's breaking into that $0.75 124. Let's see where you're going to find resistance here on the daily. Let's zoom out a little bit. I can't believe Carvana's at $123. I just can't believe it.
Same when I was looking at it earlier. I was like, pardon?
Anyway, yeah, kind of hard to chart anything here on Vana. Keep your eye on 125 if you continue to head up on that. So we'll keep an eye on that. Elon, hi Sharif. Did you trade SGBX? I hesitated a bit at 5:20 this morning and never looked back. I did trade SGBX. It was a successful trade off VWAP. We scalped off that 6 2/3 into 7. It looks like it's curling right back into 7 now. So good look here for SGBX. I don't think this one is done, Elon, to be honest. You know my rules for these small cap gappers. I got to be above VWAP, and VWAP on this chart, 6 1/3 Adair.
Ooh, yeah, it's that SGBX does not want to quit. That reminds me, someone was asking about Starbucks earlier, which I did not take a look at. Oh. And I will pull up Starbucks. I've been trading caffeine names today, traded Monster Energy, which is the new dead one. Move aside, Apple. Yeah, Starbucks, That was a nice short at that 73.70, what is it, 73.75. But the thing is, too, there's not a lot of confluence that you would have had to take it at that level. Right? It's not like it was a previous level beyond. We did have that little wick there, I guess, and then that curl heading into it was very nice. We had that bearish candle, but nice move to the downside. We're going to have to see what we do here at 73.30 because we are nearing that area pretty soon, and that was the previous low of the day. That being said, we could try to bounce back up here. Starbucks right now seeming like it's having some time trying to decide what it wants to order. And it's like the barista's like, hurry up, you've got to get a move on. There's a whole line of people behind you. So Starbucks, you want to be a long or short at these levels, only time will tell. Also, yeah, so people were saying like, oh, Adara does not need more caffeine. I want to clarify again, I am not as caffeinated as I think it is most people would assume I am. So yeah, we did have also a little bit more sips of that caffeine there, ready to keep going. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would trade this at these levels, but I like the Monster Energy earlier, so I like those caffeine related plays, especially both of them post earnings as well. So I am definitely okay with caffeine stocks. But you know what else I'm okay with? I have been waxing poetic, well, like once earlier, about that Coinbase 222. Look what bounced. Coinbase 222. I'm putting this off my Con-L. If my Con-L comes back to that level, which I think is like 49 on Con-L, I drew a line. It's 49.38. If we come back, if we bounce, somebody's going long.
Like it.
I am going long. We're going to take a con long on Con-L.
All right.
What do you, how was the Google short was great, by the way.
We're still like 4 pennies out of the money at the moment, so trying to pack my patience on it. We'll see what it does. I think Google's definitely the weaker one on the day, so if I'm going to short one of these, it'll be either Tesla or Google. Come what may, baby. The orders are in, and we're going to keep an eye on that. What do I think of the soft one, says JMO947. I like the way you put that. Look, I like it today. Any dips into the 10 period here look to be getting bought up. I don't have my 20 period because it doesn't show up on this chart for whatever reason. I've tried to get it to show up multiple times. But the dips into the 10 period, mostly that 406 level, seems to be getting bought up. But, you know, it looks like we're topping out here. 406 and 2/3. We've been very sideways for a while. I mean, we have had dips into VWAP. The deeper retracements have broken through the 10 and come into the volume weighted average price. But yeah, it's a good look. You're up over 2%. The fact of the matter is, though, we really haven't been that much higher than we were at 10 a.m. this morning when we got into that 406.5. So it's going to have to show me something here. Well, we'll continue to watch to see if it does end up showing me something or not. But this 18,000 is the thing that I'm keeping my eye on, because this could absolutely get me in trouble with goggles, right? So this area on goggles here, we keep curling up, and this might spell trouble for me if we break through 18,000. I don't want to try to, you know, guess what's going to happen, but I need to make contingency plans. And if 18,000, we really blow through that level, I think Google definitely pops up, breaks the 166 level, and that will for sure stop me out. The other thing that I'm watching here is there seems to be some love shown by the 50 period to the Amazon today. Now look, Amazon's a little consolidative. It's had these two outlying events, one in the pre, one here at 1040, 1045, where it broke into these highs. But for the most part, we've really been kind of hugging 185 3/4 to 186 or 187 3/4. 186 3/4, 187-ish area. So about $1.25 worth of range on Amazon. It's gotten a couple of nice pumps. Oh, so I did get stopped out off. Yeah, I did get stopped out on goggles. Goggles is headed to the high side here. So I did get stopped out there. So now, am I negative on the day now? Yes, I am down by $3. Okay, we'll keep eyes on that. But Amazon has a good area of support, it looks like, at the 50 period here. So keep your eye out on this 186.75, 187 area. Could be a rinse and repeat range there.
Yeah, I mean, I love rinse and repeat ranges. Do not get me started. I could wax thought. Literally, yesterday, I think I said I'm deranged, and Ramin thought I said I like that range. So that shows how much I talk about ranges for Ramin to think I said that. Okay. So I thought that was really funny. I'm always waxing poetic about ranges. I just got a kick out of that. But yeah, so anyways, I'm in this Palantir short. I don't know if I'm in the Palantir on this, but I want to talk about why I got involved. Lower highs, lower lows, below the 90 MA, getting near that previous area of pre-market support. If we break above this 23, 12, or 11, I'm going to have to say bye-bye to, I'm going to have to say out of here, Palantir. But right now I don't because I'm still in the trade. I like, also, the thing is too, so no Sharif always says, and I agree, you can't get involved in a trade in one candle. But what if you have two bearish looking candles and an overall downtrend and you're below the 90 MA? I see some stuff here in Palantir, but like I said, I really don't think I'm in the Palan clear. I don't want to steer clear of it either. I want to see how we do, but I think it was one of those things where I liked what I saw and I wanted to take it because we have had such a stall for whatever reason around this $23 level. We have earnings for Palantir on Monday, so definitely stay tuned for those. Alex Karp and his hair and his thoughts. You'll get that on Monday after the close with Sean and I on Low Market Recap. Always check that out. Right now, Palantir doing nothing. Also, I realized I never checked back up on my TQQ short to tell you guys what happened there. So because I was happy with this. I scalped out, and I really like where I scalped out too, because I got out here. I wanted 55s, ended up getting 58s, and I'm happy I got it where I did because we bounced a little bit higher here. So, and I've been saying this as well. I set really tight stop losses. Like, I do not want to risk sometimes more than 5 or 6 pennies. That doesn't always work out, but I find it helps me minimize my losses so that I can help maximize my gains, especially because I take smaller shares. So it's like if you're going to take less shares, you're going to be winning a little bit less too, right? But that means you want to lose as little as possible. So that's really what happened here on the TQs. I see you are short the TQs.
Yeah.
So you are pleased as punch, I'm sure, right now.
Well, we're looking for an 18 rejection, a rinse and repeat. It's not going to be as forthcoming, I think, as we accumulate into that. So I'm just going to send it to you because I still haven't put my stop or anything yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, just give me a second on this side.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I don't have much else I'm looking at right now. Let's look at NVDL though. Well, and I'll look at our big sister. I'll look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA though, I actually like as a potential bounce here off that 38.10 and that 38.10 in the 90 MA. On NVIDIA, that is 886. So if we put $1 on NVDA to get to my level, if we get to that level, somebody might be taking NVDL to the upside and hoping for an NVDW, but we'll have to wait and see what happens there.
It'll be an NVDW.
Oh, I like that. Positive manifestation. But yes, that's what I'm looking for here on NVDA. What's everybody else trading? I love seeing what everybody's up to, and great community to talk about here, and so many traders. Do you use ATR or only use a few pennies? Yeah, Bryce, I'll use like previous levels of resistance and support, but usually I'll use like the tightest one I can find. So that's kind of how my stops are. How are you doing there?
Doing decent, not bad at the moment, but look at this, guys. Now it looks NVIDIA is really making a move for it here. And any dips into the 10 or even the 20 are getting bought up. And I think this is why I think we actually break 18,000 here. If NVIDIA starts really pumping up, we could see 900 today, I think, on NVIDIA if this one really starts getting going. So that could be an absolutely good look. Look at all the buy-ups on NVIDIA. I mean, like, you cannot not look at this. Higher lows all day long. Sure, we're not above resistance level 2 on the pivots, but definitely higher highs, higher lows. The dips are being bought up. We're printing at 887 right now. So I think, this could absolutely head to the high side. The other trade that I'm looking at is this Tesla top. Why is the top at 180.75? A completely random area, but it is, again, there's been a lot made about the institutional prints at 8 a.m. and what they may or may not mean. But here it is, guys. The fact that the top end of this institutional print is literally 180.75, and we've had, for the better part of a couple hours now, a range at 180.75. Come, say whatever you want about those institutional prints at 8 a.m. I know there was a trader around these parts a while ago that had his own theories about them, and he was ridiculed a little bit for it. Yeah, well, when you think outside the box, sometimes you subject yourself to ridicule. But anyway, 180.75, great area there for a short on Tesla. That is unless we get a flat bottom break. The other thing that I'm going to start looking at now are NVIDIA longs off the 10 EMA. So you're going to have to, obviously be alive to where the 10 EMA is printing at any one time because it's very dynamic. And your orders may have to change constantly to keep up with where the 10 EMA is. But that's what I'm looking up for now. Dip trades on NVIDIA into the 10 EMA. The deeper retracements seem to come in to the 20. We shall see what happens there. Let's see what else is popping off. I just finished singing Amazon's praise, saying that it has support off the 50. agree with that. So another trade that I could be persuaded to get into here is another dip long off the 50 on Amazon, 186.30, 186.25. That's where it seems to have a bit of area support. Right now it's at the mid 50s. So we're gonna have to pack our patience, otherwise no go there. And let's look at AAPL as well, because this has been stuck in a range. So I haven't traded Apple all that well today, which is fine, even though there is a bit of an established range. I don't know how I screwed this up. I have my order, my alert at 184.05. It hasn't even gone off because we haven't made it back down to 184. But the lower end area, I mean, maybe I'm being too frugal here. 184, I should be waiting 20 rather than 05s, for example. But this is very similar to Tesla. 185 top on Apple, 184 low. It's a dollar range. If you can weasel your way into it, all the better. I'll keep my eyes on both of those possible trades, Adara.
Yeah, that NVIDIA, oh, wow, tired. The NVIDIA bounce off the 9 EMA is a nice look for me as well that I would play through NVDL. Right now, though, ironically, I am short. I know I'm like, oh, I like long NVIDIA. I'm shorting the SOXL, though. The reason I'm shorting the SOXL is look at this little roundy top and look at that resistance. I say I could squeeze this guy for a couple pennies and leave. So that's what we're trying to do here. Also, Palantir is like, I have nothing to report. Palantir is still trucking along, basically flat. I think it might have to take Apple's title for the dead one, because at least Apple has a rate. Ooh. Right now, Palantir has a series of doji candles doing a whole lot of nothing. But SOXL, if we break above this 39.10, I'm going to have to get out. Really, really, really small position. I'm just trying to get into the habit, if I see stuff I like, getting involved. I think, and the thing is, too, is I knew it was kind of a riskier position, so I will definitely not want to overstay my welcome in the SOXL. But yeah, I thought I'd try that short just based on the fact that we did have a little bit of a curl down, especially interesting given that pop-up that we have had in NVDL and AMD, which has been pretty strong as well here. I'm just going to hop out of this SOXL for now so I can take my eye off it and look at some other trades. Yeah, Palantir doing a heck of a lot of nothing. What else is popping here? Let's look at AMD. Let's look at AMD. Speaking of these chip names, because we looked at AMD a little bit earlier, but it's not one I've looked at in many moons. So let's take a look at AMD. Shout out to anybody who took this high of day break earlier, because that was a nice look. AMD and NVIDIA both sitting pretty here at their 9 EMAs, poised for a move to the upside. I think now that I'm out of that SOXL short, I want to definitely try to find a way to finagle, weasel, what have you, myself into that NVDL long, because that's a trade I really want. And it's like, Dara, why are you trying to take this little tiny fish on SOXL when you could have had like a big, prize-winning fish with the trade you really, really wanted on NVIDIA? It reminds me as well, I was like, Sean was talking this morning at the coffee machine. I think he was mostly talking to Obi, but I happened to be there, so I learned this lesson as well. And he was saying, he's like, one of the biggest things that I've kind of notice is like, try not to trade some of these like these smaller moves, because it's like you'll get chopped up trying to get these 30 or 45 pennies, when it's like if you have like a big home run, try to go for that maybe instead of like the singles. You know what I mean, to use a baseball analogy. So I'm really paraphrasing, but I learned a lot from mostly just overhearing that conversation with Sean and Obi this morning, because I think one of the benefits too of being on this floor and being part of this community is there's so many other traders you can always learn from. SOXL, now you decide to work? Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Always looking for some opportunities there. If we come back to 39, I might short a little bit of a pop again. But honestly, like, I wasn't 100% confident in that trade in the first place, so I can't be too hard on myself for getting out because I didn't feel super confident. That's the name of the game sometimes, baby. Let's see if we bounce off that 38.10. Wow. Palantir, if you want to do anything, let me know.
All right, we wet our beak on some profits there on the TQQQ short, but simultaneously took an L on Meta. So tried to get into the 10 period on META. I guess my stop is a little too tight here because, well, I don't know if it's a little too tight. I think I may have made a boo-boo on this one. Anyway, profit on one, loss on the other. That's just the way this one goes, so we'll keep an eye on both of them. I still can be persuaded to get into both. But another one is starting to feature now, and it goes by the name of Apple, back into 185. We were talking about 185 resistance on AAPL, 184 short, and that is back in play right here. 184.92 on AAPL. The highs all morning have been south. I mean, obviously this doesn't count, but basically from 950 onwards, it has been a 185 top. It actually hasn't broken 185. So this will be an outlying event if we do get that break and take on the 185 right now on AAPL. So we're gonna have to get rid of this one. What just happened? Why am I out of my position? I didn't actually put that out there.
I was confused too because I was confused
I don't
why you were out.
understand why I'm out. Okay.
It's like it's a range, but I know you wouldn't have played it like a range.
That's
why
not
I was
what I want to
confused.
do. Trust me. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna have to fix this chart on Apple again because, well, you know how the wicks are. 184.63. I have to fix this quickly here. There we go. 184.63. So now we can see the chart a bit better. Here comes 185. I'm gonna take this short. If you know, I'll give it a little bit of room. If it breaks 185 to the top side by like 10 cents or so, then we'll be looking to get stopped out. But you know, this is a rinse and repeat level on Apple, and I'm going to try it. So obviously, I don't want Apple to tank for the long term because I am in Apple bigly in the long-term account. It's my biggest holding by a long shot. So we'll continue to watch that. It was rivaling Caterpillar, but Caterpillar, as you know, is now all over with. It's done as a trade for me. So I'm looking for a 185 general area rejection here on the dead one, AAPL. It's been a 185, 184 range on Apple all day. I mean, we mentioned it, from 950 onwards, it's been a range. Now, the future is coming off a little bit here, so which makes me feel Apple probably will start going up because they kind of move in opposite directions. So we didn't get that 18,000 break and take on the future quite yet. We're back into the mid 80s or there, Neil. Boo, Caterpillar quitter. It was a trade, Neil. It wasn't a long-term hold. Neil. Quitter pillar, I like it. Neil is holding Caterpillar in the long term. I think you're going to be in that for. When he's retiring, he'll sell that. So he's not selling it yet. You do adjust. You're an active manager of the portfolio. If something gets too big, you do trim it. Yeah. Yeah. I remember he did that with Lily when he was in the money heavily on Lily. It got too big. You had to trim that down. I'm sure he'll do the same on Cat. Shout out to Neil. There it goes, baby. Apple to the downside. We take that already. Now let's see if we can get a nice move, maybe into that $0.0002 general area. Let's go down, Apple, and let's go down, Future. Apple both legs, says Huckleberry. Yes, if you're looking on the bigger time frame, absolutely agree with you. If you're looking at the 15-minute, I can absolutely see what you mean by that bull flag because we had that monster move in the aftermarket yesterday, Ram. And this was the big move up. So you're not wrong. If you're looking at it on the hourly, you probably look like a bull flag as well. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And look at that. You're getting dips off the 10 period. This is what the beautiful thing is about multi-time frame analysis. You never know where these moving averages or what indicator is going to feature on what time frame. That's why I always start, when I chart every night, I start from the weekly and I go down all the way to about 5 minutes. And incrementally looking for RSI, price action divergence on all time frames, indicator support and resistance on all time frames to see, you know, what it's respecting. You never know what these algos are trading off. You don't know what they've been programmed on. That's why, you know, kind of behooves you to do that. So we'll see. We'll see there.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? On Palantir's behalf, I'm a little bit offended that you called Apple the dead one today. Because Palantir's like, I haven't done anything for like 6 5-minute candles, Sharif. It's kind of offensive.
Oh, no.
1, 2, okay, actually, let's count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What are we doing, Palantir? Why am I Palantir?
Why am I Palantir?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to leave,
like
but I do not like that we have done nothing in this time. And it's not like, because I think one of my biggest things is I have a really bad habit, and I've gotten slightly better about it, but just leaving a trade because I'm bored and then it works out. I don't want to do that. I do like this trade. It's not like we're like out of the money. Like I said, I'm giving this into 23.12, so I'm okay with what we're doing in Palantir right now. But it's just, it's really funny when a stock moves with whatever the opposite of a viciousness or a swiftness is. It's very languid. But you know what's not languid is this future. I'm so happy with this. We broke decisively below that previous. I'm sorry.
You're so lucky. Why?
Well, because I know
feel bad about that.
You got that figured out.
You did a really good job. You shouldn't feel bad for me. Don't worry about me.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job.
But also, you have your Apple short now too. So you're Tim Cook. We're both Tim Cooking to the downside.
You want to know the truth though?
Please.
Apple's moving the opposite direction of all the names right now. So that's why I was jokingly saying the future's tanking. Apple's gonna pop.
You weren't wrong. That's weird that it did do that.
It's finding support. It doesn't seem to be moving with the future at all, to be honest with you. I didn't want to interrupt you.
No,
Go
it's
ahead.
okay. Yeah, honestly, so I took out profit there. I was really proud of myself because initially I wanted to get out the second we got near that 50s area because that was the previous resistance and then support that I was playing earlier in that range. But then I was like, Adara, you know what? Be a little bit more patient. So I gave it another 5 pennies. Is Apple at that level where you owe me ice cream? Says, I'm going to go take a wild guess and say it's Ramin?
Yeah,
it is Ramin.
of course.
But yeah, so Ramin wants her ice cream. And this goes
Do you
back.
remember?
Yeah, this is in October
Exactly.
earnings. Sharif's like, if Apple's up by the end of the day, I will get. No,
You're
first
looking at me.
he said, if Apple's up, you know, in the morning, I'll get everybody Starbucks. But then it was down like 2%. And then
was
Sharif
down
was
big.
like, but if we're up by the end of the day, I'll get everybody ice cream or Starbucks.
I
And it
didn't
still
said
wasn't.
no such thing this time around.
You
though.
did it because
I
I think
did
you
it.
knew they were going to surprise. And I said this on the market recap, and I want to echo this. For me, I think the biggest thing with this earnings report and why people were so excited, China. You and Brendan were mentioning this morning as well. Positivity in China in terms of beat and also year-over-year growth, because China was the biggest thing, in my opinion, that, and analyst opinions as well, that sent this guy to the downside. But Apple did have a little bit of weakness in iPads. As Sharif astutely pointed out, though, it might have to do with the fact that we have that let loose event, which is possibly iPad related, and people who want to buy iPads are waiting to see what gets unveiled there. So I think that was a take that completely slipped my mind. So I think that's a really good take there from Sharif. Right now, Palantir, if you want to take any level, pick a level, just let me know. I am here. I am waiting. Neil and Bears vs. Bulls both lobbying for ice cream for Ramin, by the way. In the
okay.
chat, just so you know.
Whoa,
Their
whoa.
team ice cream.
All right. Well, I don't mind going right now, but someone's gonna have to cover on the show. No, I'm kidding, right? We're absolutely printing bigly. Oh, do you want to cover for real? I'll go get ice cream. Yeah. Are we allowed to do that? No, we're not. I think we're allowed to do that. Yeah. We're literally not allowed. Yeah, I think that's one of the things on the exam.
It is.
Yeah,
As
right.
someone who recently took the exam.
All right, so I'm gonna end my trade here on the dead one, Apple, because I'm now in a nice long, at least I believe it's a nice long. I'm out of the money. I'm out of the money about 30 pennies right now on Meta. I'm looking for a VWAP hold on Meta. And a 450 hold as well. It's not just a VWAP hold. It's going against me, though. So this is trouble because the market is coming down. And so it looks like Meta is going to come down off these levels. I'm going to send it to you to put my stop.
Yeah, I have nothing to talk about. I'm waiting to find some more trades here. But this Soxel VWAP bounce, hello. I don't want to take it long, though. If we reject off that 38.90, which is where I should have exited my short, patience, Adara, then I'll be getting involved probably back in the short here. Soxel goes on the side chart. Also, yeah, this is one thing I saw. I've seen Bears vs. Bulls put it in the chat. Shout out to Bears vs. Bulls, by the way. Great moderator, greatest moderator. So happy to have you here. And but also, Bears vs. Bulls has said patient sometimes with a Y. It's like it pays to be patient.
I love it.
And that's something that I think would have happened. I got out of this for a couple pennies, mostly because I was like, oh, I just want to see other charts. And I'm like, maybe, you know, I didn't feel that confident in the first place. But it's like Adara. Get involved in that trade because you like it. And I did have reasons to be confident. We had that rounded top. We had that area of previous resistance. I just was not feeling what I should have been feeling in the trade. And, you know, we talked about this before. I think one of the things about, you know, trading your own book is because you're not going to really want to be involved in the trade. You're not going to have the impetus to do well in the trade if it's not your trade. And I've gotten out of trades before
100%.
because I've gotten involved. I've seen stuff like people in the chart being like, oh, this is a good level. Or sorry, people in the chat being like, this is a nice level. And I'll agree that it's a nice level and I'll take the trade and then I'm in it and I'm like, well, I don't really know if that's, if I got in it for my reasons. You know what I mean? I think you have to have your reasons. That's why I love Sean sticking out, because he will have his stocks that he likes for his specific reasons at his specific levels. And I think having your own reason for taking trades, whatever those reasons may be, is really important. So that's my my monologue there, my Shakespearean sonnet. But yeah, I think, like, honestly, I do think having confidence in your own trades and your own style is really important.
All right, well, you know, we're back break even now on Meta. I put my stop. Come with me now. If it breaks VWAP, if it's a break and dump, then it's a losing trade. End of the story. Stop is in. If we get filled here at the 60 penny level, I'll be happier. I gotta tell you the truth, but keeping an eye on the future, because I think the future is really gonna dictate whether I get stopped out of META at the moment, because it is at VWAP, but you know, it could easily break volume weighted average price. That's not like a a metal fence or anything like that.
I like that.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Barbed wire.
Yeah, it's not barbed wire. Shout out to the Katima man. How was the walk and talk? Was there a talk?
No, we're doing podcasts.
Oh, he was doing podcast.
On the download.
Okay. All right. Well, I
Sean
kind
was
of said
doing
it a little
super
bit
secret-
loud there.
Sean was doing super secret activities is what was happening there.
Yeah, okay, well, he's going to show the food because the food today, let me tell you, man, look at that, guys. I mean, there's a plethora of colors, bro. Beautiful,
Veggies,
beautiful, beautiful.
cucumbers.
Did you put?
There's the citrus.
That's the other. So you get the salad.
Poached.
Oh, is it, eh? Is it spicy or is it good?
No, it's not spicy. It's more of
good.
like a tang.
Okay.
There's a tang to it.
Good.
Shout
Well,
out
as long
to
as
Tang.
it's tolerable,
Yeah.
right? You're good
Yeah.
to go there.
Sharif, shout out to Sharif though for always being very sensitive to my very low spice tolerance. Like we make jokes and we laugh, but he is always like very nice and is like, is it too spicy? So I appreciate.
All good, all good. All right, so the future, we're at 17,970. We're still above that 50-point area, but I think it's going to be trouble for my meta long. The short on Apple was absolutely a banger. We took a lot on that one. Where is that one? There it is. I was very happy with this short over here, but I'm not going to likely be happy with this long on META unless something fundamentally changes here. The Piper, can't see what you're doing, Sharif. It's tiny. I'm sorry, brother. What do you need to be bigger? Do you want the level 2 bigger or the charts bigger? Exactly what is it that you're having trouble seeing? Tag me again, and you know, I have no problem making those adjustments for you. Here comes the stop on META though. If it breaks at $0.50, we're gonzino. It's at the 2/3 of a dollar now. It's either gonna bounce up or you know we're gonna be in some trouble here on META. Could have flattened out break even. As you can see, it went up into the 40s, but that wasn't the trade. And so I'd rather take the L than get out prematurely and then watch it go in my direction. That's just infuriating. Those barbed wire tats, baby. Oh yeah, sounds good. What do you got over there?
I have my sock sell short. I have a sock sell short that I like. To be fair, I did like the initial one, but I do think I was really lollygagging with that. I was like,
Lollygagging.
I'll get in. Then I was like, I'll get out. But here, I like it. I like that we are below the 90 EMA. I like that we had that rejection at that previous area of
On
support.
this one?
If we break above, we're going to give this about like 8 pennies into that, or I guess like 7 pennies, whatever. Either way, we're giving it into like that 38.96 area because that was that other little top here. If we break above, or sorry, that other support area, if we break above that, I want none of the smoke, but I do want all the smoke here heading into VWAP. Why else do I like VWAP here? If you may ask, I don't know if you did, but here you go. A, the bottom of this little top and turn we had earlier. B, it is the bottom of that pre-market, or sorry, it's the top of that pre-market little area we had before we broke out. So there's a couple reasons that I do like this area. We're going to plan and out here just above that VWAP. So we're gonna have to wait and see how that goes. Palantir is deciding to break to the upside a little bit, but not to a degree that makes me worried and/or that means I need to leave because I do have plans here. Let me show my Palantir. Yes, like I said, for Palantir, I'm gonna be concerned if we break above that previous area here of that 23.11. Right now, finally getting moved on to the upside here. And I said when I got involved in this short, I said I liked it because it's lower lows, but I know Palantir is a strong name. So we're gonna have to find out what happens here. I'm always very willing to consider that the trade goes against you. But I think one of the biggest things, and Sean has said this, and I really learned from this, a scared trader is an efficient trader. So if I see something I like, I do want to get involved. Which is what happened here. I have to shout out Diggle Boy. Soxal likes Sedera. Love it for short. I think if anything, we might have like an unrequited relationship, but I like Soxal too much. But either way, I did get a kick out of that comment. How's Tesla looking today, says Jeff the Pain. Let's take a look at. Hopefully you're bringing some pain to this market, taking those trades. Tesla, what are you, Tesla. Tesla, a little bit, okay. I got a little bit distracted by the Tesla chart there. This 180.60 top, bottom-ish of one. The point I'm trying to make is there's some kind of range here, but the only reason I'm a little bit, I say some kind and not confidently there is a range, is for a couple reasons. A, this looks a little bit sloped to the downside here at that 180.60, but then we get these very bullish candles here at the bottom at this 179.80. Right now, I think Tesla needs to decide what it wants to be when it grows up before I can have any kind of read and decisively say, I like this, I am not down. So we're gonna have to wait and find out what happens. JF Trader making a pun here as well for Jeff the Pain, saying, Jeff, Tesla is a pain as always. Yeah, I mean, we call it stress level for a reason, but I think there were lots of opportunities for longs and shorts here. I know, Sean, you went both directions on Tesla today, right? So yeah, exactly. So you can take, you have to have plans. You have to be ready to flip it and reverse it. Sean took Tesla both long and short today as Tesla was moving around there. So I do think there were options in both. I think right now though, Tesla needs to figure out exactly what it wants to be in between this 179.80 to 180.60 area. If it does make a decision and it wants to range, hey, by all means, Tesla, invite me. I'll hop in the Cybertruck. But until it has that decisive range, I have really no reason to get involved. Right now I'm still in my 2 trades. Could you please look at Carvana, says Chevalier Tate. Sharif yesterday recommended go short at 116. I'm still trapped in that short. Should I be getting out?
Whoa.
So, we don't make recommendations, right? We just look at levels. And also that 116 level as a short yesterday, intraday, was a really good look. I want to clarify as well.
Okay.
Because I remember we both like that level. But also, intraday, and we don't recommend recommendations. We just look at opinions on the chart, right? Right now, for me, I have to tell you, on the intraday, this is a nice look.
116 was the long yesterday.
Oh, 116 was the long?
Yeah, look.
Oh, yeah, it was the long. Okay.
So we were kind of ranging with the long right there.
Right.
So if you're long, Shefali, you're in the money nicely.
But I think it's the short, though.
No, I would never say to short off 116.
Also,
the range
I think
yesterday
Carvana short can be scary, too.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
No question about that. All right, I'm out of meta, by the way. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about that. So yeah, I just wanted, it's just always opinions, no advice, just our takes on charts. Right now, their Carvana, I would say, does look strong. We did have that bounce off that. I think for me too, that 119.15 area, or 119.50, if we hold this up to me, it does look pretty strong here for Carvana. That previous resistance area here coming back into support on that VWAP. So yeah, I think I have to say this is a pretty strong look on Carvana right now. SOXL, we're about 5 pennies in the money. SOXL just keeps bouncing off those 80s, so I might have to get out of that. I'm going to get out of that in general soon as well, because we do have the lesson du jour coming up. So we're not Neil's lesson of the day, because that is a whole other thing, and Neil's dropping hot lines at User Sharifism, and his advice and his takes, and they're always really good stuff. Like Neil and Sharif and I are always saying, we learn a lot listening to him as well. So I know people in the chat love that. So check out Neil around the noon hour, more or less every single day for those lessons of the day. But Scott Thompson asking about ARMs. Let's take a look at ARM quickly before we pass it off here and see what's going on. ARM, okay, what are you saying here? Any thoughts on where ARM may bottom out? I mean, again, not advice, but just opinions here. Look at this 101-ish area. I know Neil earlier was mentioning 101 on ARM. For me, I see ARM, we had a little bit of flattish top here at 103.20, then we start to see lower highs. The reason I say 101 maybe is because A, it looks like that could be the next kind of progression to the downside, and B, we had that base here earlier. So I think if we do have a bottom, that could be where it is. But again, just my take on the chart, and I want to look at the daily to get a better sense of where ARM might lose its armor. ARM also reports next week.
Oh.
So ARM's something to keep an eye on here. This is interesting with ARM. ARM looks like it's actually trying to break up on the daily chart, because we do have these higher lows in this flat top. So ARM could be getting spicy here. Also spicy is Palantir. We're going to have to probably steer clear, get out of the way of Palantir here. I said way too many ear sounds there. But yeah, right now SOXL continues rejecting, so probably going to get out of that. This ARM, though, is an interesting little look. And I think, yeah, basically, Scott, I want to see, it'd be interesting to see what we do at 101, but again, not advice, just based on previous levels and the general trajectory. How are you doing?
Good. Back in meta. I'm cruising for a bruising, but we'll let that one go. I like the look at VWAP on META. I just feel like I got pushed out of that one too quickly. Back goes the future into, curling up into 17,990 again. It looked, I don't know, man. Do we take 18? Like, it did actually bounce off resistance level 2 on pivots. So did a little bit of a move down off 18,000. Here comes 18 again. But I feel like this is more NVIDIA driven than Mag 7 driven. Look at the chart, like confluence between NVIDIA, like the bars even, they look the same. So maybe we should be trading NVIDIA if we've got an eye on the future. Anyway, there was a beautiful 20-period hold on NVDA. The other one that's kind of changing its tune a little bit is this 166 level on Google. Google had been a 166 reject all morning. Initially, we had been rejecting that $0.75 area, and now we're breaking through the whole dollar area. To go green on Google, though, we got to break through that 2/3, 166.60. is the closing print on GOOGL. So we'll have to keep eyes on that for any possible trend change. But I'm going to keep my eyes definitely on 18,000 because that I believe taking that will absolutely have a big effect here on some of these Mag 7 names. Mr. Longshorts, that famous line from my dad growing up. Which one are you talking about? I'm not sure which one you're talking about. Let me know. What else have we got over here? Yeah, not much. Just this meta trade that I'm in at VWAP and keeping my eye on 185 on Apple. That's really been the kind of the whole thing today. What else we got over here? Okay. Oops, 1 sec. There we go. Let's see if we can get a little bit there. Yeah, I've got nothing else, but we can probably start the lesson, no?
Yeah, I'm just going to get out of my socks. L for a small
can take
L.
over.
No, it's okay. I think we're basically, if it just lets me get, there we go, we're extricated. Also, I would like, before we get to the lesson, I want to take a brief moment to say, Palantir, you're not my pal, Palantir. Like, pardon me, I said I wanted to see what we do at 23.11. We break up with a viciousness into 23.11, okay? So I get out. Meanwhile, guess who decides to go back to my point of entry? Palantir.
Oh, wow.
So I'm just going to stick my tongue out aggressively at Palantir. If we keep bouncing at 9 EMA, you know, Palantir, I'm not going to steer too clear. It's going to stay on my side chart. If we keep bouncing, we keep bouncing. Stock sell, I could have scalped it a little bit earlier, but yeah, I'm still up on the day, and my spirits are always up. I am always bullish, positivity, and new opportunities. So there we go.
Tina Man, you got to be careful with the negative talk on Palantir because Tina Man got upset.
Oh,
it's a joke.
Okay.
I want to dare to guess the price I'm short now.
Can I? Oh, I tried, but I didn't do very well in it. Like for myself. Are you short? Okay, I have two guesses. 23, 27?
Whoa, are you kidding, bro? Wow,
So
that was
I guess
really
23,
good.
27. Sean is short 23.28, and you can check it out on More Trader TV Live. So you can see what Sean and Neil are doing. I do love playing the game. Pardon?
Neil's like, you get ice cream for that. Look, I made the deal with Ram last time around about Starbucks. I didn't say anything about it. Bang! On my meta trade as we move back into 450, now looking for that bigger move up. Where are we long here on META? This More Trader TV thing's blocking. We're long 60, so we're 40 pennies in the money now on META. Let's see if we can get $1 to move up into 450.50. I'd be pleased as dang punch on this trade, trying to avenge this bad push out earlier. Look, I still believe in the VWAP. Hold on, META. We'll see what we get here, Dare, as it moves right back up.
Yeah, and I mean, I really like this comment here from UL Reina in the chat. Just in time for the lesson. You are. It's time for our lesson.
Got it.
Multi-signal approach, combining technical indicators with the gap and go strategy. So let's gap and go over here and talk about this lesson. We've been talking about the strategy all week as ways to capitalize on intraday movements, but you don't always necessarily want to rely solely on the gaps because it can be risky. And we're going to just explore some other ways to look at things with confluence and technical indicators. So here's going beyond the gap, because gaps give you insight, but they only go so far. So what are you going to do when you see a gap you like? First, you're going to identify the gap. Not a gap in the mall, mind you, not the store, but the gap in your chart. As usual, you want to start by finding stocks with significant gaps up or down at the open, combined with volume.
Volatility?
So now you want to select your indicators. Choose technical indicators that go with the gap and go strategy. And here are some popular indicators to think about. These could be trend indicators like moving averages, RSI, confirming the overall trend, so upward for bullish gap and downward for bearish gaps. You could also use a momentum indicator like the MACD, the stochastic oscillator, which can gauge the strength of the trend behind the gap, because you want a strong trend, or otherwise you might get caught in a fake out breakout, which are no fun. Those are not fun.
They're not.
And we do not like them here on How to Trade, or as traders in general, just not a fan. Also, support and resistance indicators can be really key. Bollinger Bands, pivot points. We know Sharif loves the pivot points there, and they're actually really interesting too, because sometimes I'll like a level and Sharif will be like, oh, that's the pivot. So it's good to be aware of these levels, you know? I think that's really key as well. And now that you've got arrows. Now that you have the indicators you like, now you have to find a way to interpret those signals. So analyze the indicators alongside the gap. You generally would like indicators supporting the direction implied by the gap. So a bullish gap could be accompanied, par example, by rising moving averages in an upward sloping RSI. So here's one example here of support resistance analysis with the gap. You have the gap acting as support. We pop up and then we rest here as support again. So I think that's a nice look. Here's an example of RSI analysis with the gap. So you have that overbought signal happening, and that's when you get your exhaustion gap heading and the reversal heading to the downside. So using RSI and these other indicators in tandem with gaps. Now, what are some of the benefits of combining indicators? Because there are a few. Reduced false signals. If you have a technical indicator beefing up, amping up, providing some protein to your gap strategy, it can help filter out misleading gaps and identify stronger trend continuations. You also have to think about the confirmation of trend steering. Confirmation is what we're all about here, and because indicators can highlight the momentum behind the gap, which can give you a little bit more confidence before you get involved in that trade. It can also help you improve your entry and exit points because tech analysis can suggest potential entry and exit points based on support and resistance levels or overbought, oversold conditions instead of just getting in all willy-nilly on a gap. Now here's an example. We can show you some examples too as well, actually, in the markets. I know someone earlier, I believe Paul, was saying, can we look at some actual examples today? So yeah, I'll pull up some, we can look at some charts after. But let's talk as well about considerations here to keep in mind. So you have to keep in mind your indicator selection. You want to choose indicators that suit your trading style and risk tolerance because there's no one-size-fits-all approach. You also want to look at indicator overload because I've done this before. You have too many things in the chart and then you're like, oh, shiny. Dart every which way. You're not planning your trades properly. You want to focus on a few indicators that complement your strategy and specifically your gap and go approach if that's what you so choose. But confirmation is never a guarantee, right? Even with stop loss indicators, even with supportive indicators, gaps and trends can reverse, so you always want to manage with stop loss orders and have your plan ahead of time. Context is also really key here as well. There are different types of gaps: common, continuation, exhaustion, and runaway breakaway. And we actually have a whole lesson on this. You can look up on the channel under how to trade. You can find our lesson on different gap types because knowing what type of gap it is, and I want to go back to this example we had here, this RSI example, knowing that it's an exhaustion gap can help you realize, hey, this gap to the downside could be the sign, or this gap to the upside could be the sign of the end of the trend, especially in confluence with that RSI move, right? So that's kind of the lesson of the day here. Combining indicators in any case, but here in this example, combining them with the gap and go strategy can enhance your ability to find these higher probability trades and give you a more comprehensive view of the market. And let's try to find some examples of gap and goes in the wild here. Because I know some people were saying we have so many gaps today. Let's look at coin and see if coin gave us anything here. Yeah, I mean, a little bit. A lot of these examples today, I don't know if today is like the best day to find these gap and go strategies. And the reason I say that is because a lot of the moves that we had earlier were kind of given up. So Square was really strong initially, given up. Coin, weak, then strong, now given up. So I think today was a little bit of an interesting day. But I mean, one example with Coin here where we ended up kind of gapping into is, look, so we kind of have this move up initially, coming back down, and resting near that previous support here around that 225 area. So not a perfect example, mind you, but a quick one on the fly here in these markets. I think today was interesting. I think the NFP undid or edited a lot of the initial gaps we saw. How's Meta going?
Great. Popped up without me.
Oh.
I knew that would happen.
Oh, you were sarcastic at first, and you were such a good sarcastic actor.
No, it popped without me. Like, that's my exit right here.
Oh, no.
Right? So we took the whole, like, I just got tired of waiting. And then the bid was not going above 450, and I said, okay, someone's pushing this down, and we're not getting above 18,000 on the future. So I'm like, okay, I'll just take it out here because it keeps going down to test the $0.50. So that is a perfect example of what not to do with patience. If you like the level, pack your dang patience, look at something else, put in your stop so that you're not staring at it like I just did. So I just want to kind of use my mess up as an example for what not to do for all the traders out there. Pack your patience. I really mean that. I like this level and it ended up paying nicely. I just didn't participate in it the way that I should have. But this trade is still intact. This 185 level on Apple, I can't believe how long we've been into this trade. I do have a suspicion though that we will break this. And this goes to the fact that that's based upon, I should say, the fact that we are putting in really incrementally higher lows here. The buyers are overwhelming sellers incrementally on these lows, but they're not overwhelming them enough to get that flat top break through 185. So I want to see, number one, if we break above 18,000, does Apple really like start getting going? Do we close the gap into 187, maybe 186 and a half, whatever? That's likely going to happen on the Big Kahuna show because, well, that's the more liquid time of the day. And so if we get a big, nice market pump, I think it probably comes, that power hour 2:30. Until then, though, we'll be looking to short again right at these levels. But the range, the amount of money it's giving you to the downside is getting a lot tighter. So initially you were getting $1 because it was like, nah, you even got more than $1. You got $1.50 initially, even $1.75 at times. 185 to the high side. Initially over here, it's 183 and a quarter. And then we tighten up into 184. And then it becomes 184 and a quarter. And now it's 184 and a half, all these lows. So 185, I think flat top, maybe on Apple here if we can break 18,000. But 18,000 break is not coming that easily. And you can see here all morning, saving except for this one 5-minute candle right at 10 o'clock, we've been below 18,000. So, we'll see what we do next week, if not this afternoon on that big move up. Another trade that could be had here, the soft one, coming down into 405 area here. 405 area could be interesting. That's VWAP. It's held VWAP 3 times so far. Does 4th time act as a charm. I like this 405 defend on Microsoft. Let's go over to the softy chart and enter an order here on the soft one for a 405 dip trade. Should it make its way down there, we definitely want to take that trade. So let's go have a look here. We're going to sit at 405. Oops. Did I put it out there? I didn't mean to. Okay. 405.10. We'll sit at, I'll sit at 405.10. 405, and then we'll sit at 11s. Why not? What's life without MC? So we'll see exactly what we get if there is a curl back down. Now, what's changed fundamentally from the earlier trade is this 165. Hold on. Wow, Google got into 166 and a quarter. Whew. I know, we were talking about a 166 rejection, 165 and 3/4 rejection. Now Google's reclaimed 166 and a third. Do we use now 166 as a level of support? This candle would have you thinking yes, because look at that, dip down into 166.03, and then you got bounced right back up into the 1/5 of a dollar. Google trying to go green. To go green, it's going to have to break that $0.50, 166.60 area, excuse me, not the $0.50, to go green on the day. DJ Marshall, $15 super chat. Bought a 5-7, what does that mean? May 7 SPY call strike. $509 yesterday for $1.73. So 504.67 SPY price. Close call at 3:30 with a 510.40 SPY price at open. You're getting the thumbs up from the Katina, man. I can see from the corner of my eye. Thank you, Apple. And economic numbers, much love for the Lessons Trader TV, Tampa, Florida trader. We're spinning the money for you, DJ Marshall. Shout out to you. That is one hell of an options trade there. Very happy with the fact that you're able to print, and even happier that you're able to join us on Trader TV for the lessons and the live trading. So let's keep an eye on that. Adira, I'm very interested to take a 185 again short here on Apple. The Spoofy Man is back? The Spoofy Man is on Apple at 185, says the Obe, the one, the Canobe. It's supposed to be Jerome Powell.
What?
Yeah, the Spoofy Man. Who's the Spoofy Man? Nobody knows. Whoa,
I was gonna, because I meant to ask, Obi, I meant to ask you
Obi's
about
yelling at me. Sean is telling me not to worry about it. I feel like I can't be asking questions around here anymore. My goodness.
Obi who the Spoofy Man was.
You don't know.
Yes. Sorry. Correct. I stand corrected. The reversion man is Papa Powell.
That's true.
The Spoofy Man, well, he's a figure of your imagination. He may or may not exist, right? The Katina man says it's better you do not know who the spoofy man is. Alas, you could find yourself knowing things you shouldn't know. Guys, 185, as we manifested it. We kept talking about the spoofiness at 185.
Yeah.
Have a look at Apple. It's done. That 185 level is coming down.
Oh my God, Obi scared the spoofy man.
Obi manifested it into reality. I mean, like that's
Obi spooked the spoofy man.
And now the spoofy.
Oh my God, he did.
Apple's on the way up. Let's go. It's
Obi
a flat
has powers.
break. Yeah, Obi does have powers. Remember?
He's
the
the
Ob, the one.
He's got the force.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's funny. As the spoofy man gives up his control over Apple, whoever he may be, SOXL gets that nice little move to the downside. Also, what's interesting, these chips, I know you were saying the future in Apple moving opposites.
Yeah.
The chips in Apple are moving in an opposite way, which I just noticed. So we had a nice push to the downside on SOXL as Apple pulls up. Then Apple pulls back a little bit. SOXL is like, nah, I want to go back up, thanks. We are seeing higher, I took this short, seeing a slightly higher low. I wanted back at that VWAP. I don't think we're going to be getting all the way back to VWAP. I did take out 2/3 of the position here. I was really proud of this at 85s. I don't know if we're going to get any lower than this. I'm going to take out some here at 87s. Pleased as dang punch with the SOXL. Earlier, I think it was Diggle Boy in the chat saying that the SOXL loves me. I was like, I think I have an unrequited love affair with the SOXL because I keep trying to have these movements, and the timing is just not there. We're still down in the SOXL, but I'm really happy with this trade. I am up on the day, and I am proud I stuck with it. Palantir has been Sean's pal, that's clear, but it has not been my pal. Because I had to steer clear of Palantir. That being said, I noticed we kept getting to this area. Oh, that is still SOXL. I noticed we kept getting to that area here, that 2310 and rejecting. So I said, I'll even take this, not a ton of shares, but enough shares I can live with. I'll take this range here, 2310 to 2305. And then Palantir decides to officially dip to the downside. I will admit my price in the short was not very good. It wasn't Sean's 2328. That was the price of the day there. So shout out here. Pardon? Sean just got some more out at 03.
Bang.
So shout out there. I'll take that range going down to 0302 if Palantir lets me back in here. But right now, yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing, Palin here. We're gonna have to wait and see. How was your Apple?
Good. We're on the way on it. Let's see if we can move up and close some of the gap here on Apple. I mean, you have a $2 gap between that 187 and that 185 not flat bottom, but essentially, resistance level. So we'll see what we can get. Tesla's moving up. I want to mention Tesla as well. Tesla's at VWAP for anybody who's interested. Look at Apple go, baby. Shout out to the Ob, the one that shout out to the Katina man. He's printed on that as well. 180.20? 185.20, excuse me. Shout out to the Katina man. Well, you're 2 pennies better than me, bro. I mean, like that's, yeah, exactly. Fantastic look there for the Katina man. Look, I mean, Apple on the 5-minute looks like a rounded bottom, like it's curling up. So this is a good look here for AAPL. We know that it's strong, and there it goes. It's breaking tops, baby. Shout out. Hit it, hit it, hit it. There's someone's printed on that side of the desk, and his name is Shah Katina, so he's getting excited back there, and we're pumped for him. There goes Apple. Here comes the $0.50. But if you are interested in some sort of short play, the Cybertruck, I'm getting all flustered here. 181.25. Tesla just made it back into the volume weighted average price. We had trouble with this level earlier at around 10:45. We got into 181 1/3, and we rejected bigly. We got down into that 178.42, so it was a big boy rejection. Things could be different. Shout out to the Katina man. Look at Apple go, baby. Here comes the $0.50.
Woo!
Spin that money, baby. The $0.50 on Apple is forthcoming. And we could even see, I don't know, I think we could see a $2 gap close by 4 o'clock. More, okay, I'll take that, bro. I'll take it. Let's see 190. I hope 200. I know. I'm being a little bit conservative. I should get a little bit more pumped up. Don't forget, if you are swinging this, make sure that you know exactly what's going down on May 7th. Because what is it called again?
Let loose.
The Let Loose event, widely known or widely speculated to be the launch of the new, augmented, changed, improved iPad. It's been a while since they've changed anything around with that product. I'm assuming there's going to be some talk as well about AI. I don't think we're going to have to wait all the way for the earnings call, or not the earnings call, the June 10th WWDC for the AI headline there. So keep your eye out on that. And that down goes Apple into the 185 and a quarter. Volatility is real. It's fast and furious, baby. It's 130. He's reloaded. Somebody's reloaded. It's flushing again, right back up. DVDR 43 says, let's Tim Cook. A page out of Adair's book, but you could not be more appropriate. We're Tim Cooking to the high side here.
A page out of my cookbook.
Oh.
But yeah, no, I mean, I love when people make puns here, so definitely, yeah, share the puns. I took a very tiny SOXL short where it looks like we're going to be, or sorry, a long, it looks like we're going to be take a SOXL on that. I really just kind of wanted to see what we did here because we kept kind of bouncing at that level. Lost, we're still, yeah, SOXL still slightly down and still up on the day. If we bounce again off VWAP, we'll have to see, but I think I was a little bit too ambitious and too rambunctious trying to take that trade, but I did take it with a smaller position. Still up on the day. Always bullish positivity. Always bullish positivity. Said that really intensely. Yoel Reina mentioning Robinhood, which reports next week. So let's see what's good in the hood over here. Robinhood here. Yeah, Robinhood is not doing too much, I have to say, continuing to duck below that 9 EMA here. But I have to say, yeah, I do see what you mean, Yoel. There's not a heck of a lot happening right now in Robinhood. Let's look at the daily chart ahead of earnings. Because Robinhood, we had that gold credit card news. I know their Bitcoin production, or not Bitcoin production, I know their Bitcoin interactions were pretty good there. There was a lot of excitement for that. They were like, oh, lots of people trading Bitcoin. So I think that could be an interesting one. Oh, sorry, Yoel Reina saying it's not the stock, it's the app that's moving slowly. Yeah, no worries. I mean, Robinhood is reporting next week, so I do want to look at this. And I think it's interesting that we had that 1650 area, rejection, then a hold. So what we do on the earnings, if there's any kind of interaction with that 1650, things could get interesting for things get interesting for Robinhood at that 1650. I think it'll be really interesting to see what we do. Palantir cracking a little bit lower. I was not able to get involved. I did steer clear of Palantir, but shout out to Sean for still being in that trade. SOXL, happy I got it where I did. We're breaking a little bit lower on that. Let's take a look at Monster, because like I said, there was no energy in Monster Energy earlier today. I took my 7 pennies and I said, yeah, buy. Ooh. It is not showing my chart here for some reason on Monster. But Monster is at that 54.51, which was basically my stop loss for this earlier. So point I'm trying to make is not a lot of motion in the ocean here on Monster Energy. Square got blocked today, LOL, says the boring man. Snaps to you. Also, yeah, for some reason, I'm having some issues with my chart because it kind of crashed a little bit here. But that Square short off that VWAP rejection, not a bad look at all. You're right, it did get blocked at VWAP. We had some attempts to break above it on a wicking basis, and Square was like, I'm not really feeling VWAP today. I want to stay below. GME, people are saying, is there any news on GME, or is it just overall excitement? Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Apparently some options stuff I'm seeing on Benzinga here. Shout out to our sponsor at Benzinga. Yet GME does not want a game stop. The games do not stop here at GME. I really actually like this 13.7 area. This is not a stock I necessarily trade, but I have no qualms about trading it if it comes into a level I like. If we bounce off that 13.7, things could get a skosh spicy. I'm going to have to switch up my side charts, though, because SOXL fallen very out of range. Shout out to Yoel Reina. Thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Coffee on me today for the 2 best people. I mean, we've got a whole community here.
Yes.
And thank you so much for supporting this fantastic community. We're so happy to be with you here.
We really are.
Every lunchtime. Thank you so much for the super chat. And GME is not going to give me that area I want, but maybe for the best, because I don't know if that's a game that I want to be playing in my GME.
I like it.
But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I'm in nothing right now, guys. Sorry, I'm just trying to find an opportunity I like. Somebody's still chomping on the bit.
Yeah.
That Apple launch.
Yeah, well, I think that's actually wrong, by the way. Yeah, because I'm not in a position.
Oh, it does that sometimes.
Yeah. That's all good. Got out of that. But what I'm now focusing on is this Tesla VWAP retracement, Ram. Because what I see here is a nice move in, and then I don't see an 18,000 break and take. Yet Tesla is still showing some good, I guess, support at around this level. Now I could be persuaded to get short here, 180-150 top, but their bamboozlement is real on this. This is the level that I was talking about that is causing me some consternation here. And because, you know, this is it's not a rinse and repeat level or anything, but it is one to keep your eye on for intraday. But it keeps moving up against the market. So if that's going to be the case, I mean, I don't want the short. It's just not, it's not the right, yeah, it's still going. So I'm not going to jump into the short. The real play here is, like, look at this NVIDIA 20.
I'm trying to get involved.
NVIDIA?
It won't let me.
It's just, why not? Why isn't it?
Well,
oh,
it's
because
just
of the spread?
Yeah, it's the spread.
I see. And Adara's trying to get long NVIDIA. It just had a 220 period dip and rip. Four is. You can tell it's Friday, guys. 886.50 is where the 20 period is on the 5, and look at that move. $2 in seconds. And look at that candle. Now it closed as a hammer candle, hammer-ish. You could make a case for the bottoming tail aspect of it. So maybe we'll get involved in that one too, Adara. I think that that's not a bad idea. Let's have a look at our NVDA. Nice, Adara. Adara's long now.
NVDL.
On NVDL. And I think that I'll probably...
Oh, no.
Yeah, let it simmer.
True.
Let it simmer.
Let it simmer.
Yeah. So that's what I'll be looking at. I'm looking at a possible Tesla short. I'm not going to jump into it too quickly. I'm looking at a possible NVIDIA, you know, continuation here, but I'll have to get a lot better of a price. I think Adara has a much better price than I could bamboozle at the moment. There's also this over here, Amazon. You know, look, this one had a love-hate relationship with the 50 on the 5 today, and it looks like it's coming right back into the lower end of that range. It's kind of been dancing a little bit above, a little bit below 186. It's coming back down into 186 now. Let's look at some other time frames and see if this is respecting anything from the lower end. Let's go to the 3-minute too. Let's see. Yeah, interesting. I'm not really liking any of the confluence with Amazon and the 50, or any moving averages for that matter. Well, the 30-minute seems to have some good support here at the 10, but I'm really reluctant to trade micro off the 30-minute. Okay, so I'm gonna steer clear of this trade. I want to look for a Tesla short at these levels or an NVIDIA long continuation, Adair.
Yeah, this NVIDIA long, I don't. We had that viciousness. Now we're kind of peeling back a little bit. So people in the chat saying NVIDIA looks a little reversey. I 100%, I was already thinking that I saw that confirmation bias kicked in. I'm like, NVIDIA, are you reversing? Should we be out VIDIA, or I guess out VDL because I'm in NVDL? I want to give this until minimum like 38.20s. That will be kind of where I want to see where things happen. I've noticed we get really spicy for whatever reason around 38.25. That's when things start to push up. Now we are rejecting a little bit. I like that bullish candle. I like the viciousness with which we had that candle. Boom. But now I think NVDL is getting a little bit dicey. But you know what? I don't want to. I had a good trading day, right? I don't want to give it up. But I remember the thing is, scared money doesn't make money. Bang. And if you see something you could lose, but you could also do well. It is a trade I liked. So as long until we kind of start giving up into that 38 teens area, I want to stay involved. I do like the level. Bang. I don't hate my entry price, but someone is definitely not hating that Tesla is the Cybertruck taking you to the downside.
Down, let's go. I want a 181 break, Adara. If we can get that, that would just be aces. And there it is, baby. We called that one at VWAP on TSLA. It is a VWAP rejection on the Cybertruck on the day, and we just wet our beak there on. I had a crappy price too. I would have liked to have gotten short in the mid 30s or 40s. Alas, I did have the 20s there, but that's neither here nor there. We're going to look for the executions and hope that that brings more fruitful. I don't know. Dare, it's Friday.
It's a Friday.
It's Friday, Dare. I can't do this. The words are not coming out the way that they used to.
Same.
Yeah.
Feel that.
Yeah, I like that. I like. You guys should hear like her exhaust. She's like, same. I feel that. I'm happy that I'm not the only one. We have about 18 minutes left on the show. Let's slow it down a little bit. 22, excuse. Yeah.
I like math. That's
yeah.
I'm just
Literally,
a math nerd.
it shows you my current intellectual capacity. What do you have going on this weekend?
Oh, what do I have going on? That's how you get. Oh, I'm gonna listen to that Euphoria diss track by Kendrick Lamar like 25 more times, I think already.
Adara's been talking about this all day.
Oh my God, I've been obsessed. I was talking to Fabian about it. I was talking to Ramin about it. I was talking to Sharif about it. Shout out to CJ the trader. I think one of the people telling me about this in the chat. A couple other people talking about it as well. It came up in my daily Washington Post news event quiz, and I was like, I have to listen to this song. It slaps. It hits. It is amazing. It is everything I need in a Kendrick song. I will be listening to that in repeat while I write.
I
What are
like
you
that.
up to?
Hold on, you listen to rap music while you write? I cannot listen to any music with words when I study.
So I think for me, it depends on like with screenplays too. It's like you kind of want to get in the vibe. So it depends on what I'm writing. If I'm writing like a lot of party scenes, if I'm writing, people who would be listening to rap, that's where I like to. It really for me, I think sometimes it depends on what type of thing I'm writing. But I'll listen to generally like sometimes I'll listen to like jazz, like Bill Evans, like jazz piano. But it kind of. That's more when I like really just need to tune stuff out.
That's cool.
But yeah, thank you. What are your plans for the weekend?
What do I have? So it's my Good Friday today because I'm Orthodox.
All right.
So it is Easter for me
Happy
on
Easter.
Sunday. Thank you. I'm going to church after I get out of here. I'm going to run up there to Markham. I'm going to go all the way up to Markham and do some church things. And we got a lot of, obviously, family stuff. There's going to be a lot of food. There's going to be, what do they call that thing? Turkey? There's going to be turkey. There's going to be all this Middle Eastern delicacy, so I'm kind of pumped about that. So yeah, that's my weekend. I'm going to Paris, Texas tomorrow, so I'm kind of pumped about that. I told you about that.
Oh
on
yeah,
Monday.
the club.
I
For a
have
second, I thought you were
reservations.
actually going to Paris, Texas.
No. So that I'm really pumped about that. I went there last week, couldn't get in because it was reservations only, so I got myself some reservations this week.
Nice.
Yeah, so pumped about that as well. Adam, I see you, sir. I see you. How things been? Just got back from holiday. Adam was in Santorini, and let me tell you the pictures. Let me tell you the views about what he had there. Shout out to Adam. Love that place, man. Haven't been there since 2010. It is one of my favorite places. Shout out to you, my man. Thank you for the happy Easter, by the way. Yeah, and Adam was there with his girlfriend. Looked fantastic. So shout out to big Adam DeLuce, #1 Arsenal fan in the chat. I know you, Benson. Benson's an Arsenal fan too. I see you. I see you. Big games this weekend as well. Arsenal plays 7:30 a.m. tomorrow. Then City plays later on. And I like that. I want to play first to secure, if we secure the points. That way, I put the ball in your court. You got to secure the points now.
Oh.
So I took my 3 points. Now it's incumbent upon you to get 3 points. So I like, having that first game so that the pressure's on you.
Okay.
So that you secure 3 points and I got to secure 3 points. I feel a bบmore under pressure. I don't know. That's just kind of the way I look at it. So big games coming out this weekend in the Prem.
Best of luck there to Arsenal. Hopefully they have some, an arsenal of tricks up their sleeves, arsenal of players ready to play. So yeah, but also happy Easter.
Thank you
Enjoy.
very much. Appreciate it.
Ramin is politely asking for leftovers in the chat.
Ram, you want leftovers for real? Like, do you actually want leftovers? Because you know what there is? There's leftover of the treats that I made you still in the fridge. Yeah. So you seem to like leftovers, Ram, so much so that even the food that isn't leftovers somehow finds its way to being leftovers.
Hey, Kendrick Lamar, step aside. We have a new diss track in the house.
I'm just joking around with
joking.
Ram.
That was pretty good. That was pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, all fun, all love, all games over here.
Of course, it always is, right? Like best team in the business, baby. All right, we're still below 18,000 Adara, as we really definitely have that area, as a level of resistance on the future, and it doesn't look like it's going to be forthcoming. At least on our show, we got 8. Now we have 18 minutes left on the show. I can count, trust me. With these higher lows, but I got to tell you the truth. I'm not going to be trading one way or another until this, the futures that is, until this gets resolved either above or below. But right now it's awfully consolidative. And if you want to take those consolidative ranges, have at it. Let's look at the small cap gappers because we haven't looked at those in a while. So a lot of them have now broken down. SGBX, in my book, no longer tradable as a long. It broke the volume weighted average price at 6 1/3, and now it's using VWAP as a level of resistance. Keep your eye on SGBX. It was a big boy mover earlier in the day, as was EBS. And EBS is a 3rd day play, ran in the in the aftermarket on Wednesday. It ran bigly yesterday during regular market hours, and it is running decently again today, but an inside day ensconced with yesterday's price action. Trying to hold up here at the volume weighted average price at 370. Look at these bottoming tail candles. They show you that there could be some buyer exuberance here trying to push this above the volume weighted average price. So keep your eye on EBS as a possible continuation play. ARDX has not given up the ghost at the volume weighted average price. This one could really go in the more liquid afternoon, more liquid time of day. That $9 level was definitely a technical resistance level in the pre. We did break that. We got to 9.13. And we've held VWAP. We broke the pre-market high, not by much, and held VWAP all afternoon. This one could be what I call a VWAP hold high of daybreak. Essentially what that is, it's a big mover that retraces off the highs, comes into the volume weighted average price, trades near, a little bit above, a little bit below the volume weighted average price for a good portion of the day, and then come that more liquid time slot to 33, you get another curl up and a day, test of high a day. So keep your eye on ARDX. It could manifest into one of those. BENF and PBI no longer tradable, at least on my system for small cap gappers. We're getting a little bit of a move down within the range. Again, on the future here, the future has been stuck within this range for quite a bit of time. The low end is taking you down into 17.9 2/3. The high end here takes you to a smidge above 18,005. So it's been about, you know, a 33 point, 40 point-ish range for the better part of the morning Adair since 11:30 onwards. So we'll continue to watch the future and see if anything is forthcoming. But very rangy now is the market, save and except for this NVIDIA trade, which is back at the 20 period and yet again holding the 20 period. Oh my God, how many times is it going to do this and I don't trade it? NVIDIA is holding the 20 period on the 5. Whether or not it breaks that high a day at 91.10, an entirely different story. But if it does, it'll present you with at least $4 worth of range there on the pop-up. This level here, which is very interesting to me, 889 2/3, kind of a random level, except that it's the dotted dark blue line on my chart, which is resistance level 2 on pivots. It's also the IB high. Shout out to Dan the Man Emmons. We popped into that level at around 10 a.m. and we've had trouble breaking through it. I mean, you can see we only spent 2 5-minute candles above it before we retraced. But this NVDA 20 period retracement bounce has been an interesting possible trade all morning, Adair.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to take some things. I think I am a little bit too punchy. I can always tell I'm tired because I get a little too punchy and I need to chill. Like I was literally talking yesterday, I had a stock sell trade I punched in and out of at basically the same level, like so many times in 1 5-minute candle. I was saying this to Sharif yesterday. It was like, I can't even tell you why. It was just when I get tired, I'm like, this has to be a thing, and it's not a thing. So that being said, though, this Palantir I did really like the setup of. A lot of people saying this was a longs one on this, unless you're someone who got short like right at the beginning there. But basically, I like the short because look at that rejection of VWAP with that candle. I was like, that's a nice little look.
Yeah.
Tried to take my short, ended up taking my slaps on the wrist there. Gave us a couple pennies.
Short, bro.
Pardon?
That's a good looking
Thank
short
you.
right there.
Sometimes you have to try things, right? Like I didn't want to rest on my laurels just because, you know, I am still up in the day, and I'm proud to say that the TQs are, I think, yeah, my best names today. But it's interesting too because I was trying to play that range we were talking about on the TQs. My entry wasn't great. Risked about 5 pennies, lost about 5 pennies. Really small position, not going to complain. Just trying to get in and out of things and practice taking things when I'm comfortable taking them. That being said, as much as I said I'm trying to be less punchy, this range is still valid. So if we keep failing this 56.60, somebody's going to get into a short in the last 12 minutes of how to trade. What else are people's... Great risk management, says Adam DeLuz. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I think one of the biggest things, I was talking to Sean about this yesterday or one of those days in the coffee room, and also I was talking about it earlier today as well. My biggest thing since going live is I've been trying to minimize my losses. Nice. I'll risk like a couple pennies, especially because I'm scalpy. I don't want to make that much, right? So why am I trying to risk so much? So that's why you have to be very cognizant. So true. Have to have that tight risk management and make sure that you are not getting too much skin off your back in these trades here. Yeah, I think we're going to take this TQQ short heading in. Hopefully we'll have pew, pew, pew for the win with these TQs because I do like what's happening here. If we break above into 65s, that's going to have to be dicey. But I do think that the short... Is there a pew, pew, pew button? Yes. Oh, my God, I had no idea. So So there might be a pew 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 button, which I was not aware of.
Get it later.
Elon saying, I believe Palantir is making smiley face at least until earnings release. Good luck. Yeah, good luck to you as well. I think Palantir is a nice look. Yeah, I just wanted to take those shorts. Didn't work out. Got out. C'est la vie. Not something I am going to lose sleep over. Also, just remember, one name that's had me on pins and needles this week has been Pinterest. I was Pinterested in this one earlier, had a couple trades, and someone mentioned earlier this one was curling up. You were right. I completely missed this, forgot to look, so shout out to you, whoever that person was, but we are rejecting a little bit at that 40-60 level. Right now, TQ is about flat, excited to get that one to the downside, at least until that, to the what level? The 56.50s, that's kind of the level I like on my TQs for that range play. That's really all we're going for. Also, I have to say, I'm very happy I finally got the answer to the question, who's the spoofy man? Because I kept meaning to ask Obi when he was filling in for you when you were hanging out with lions and tigers and bears, on your safari, and I always forgot to ask. So now we know who the spoofy man is, and the spoofy man was having quite the time with Apple.
Slow clap. And those aren't even the good ones, because I put molasses in those.
The molasses ones are good.
Did you like those ones?
I love the molasses.
Have you tried the ones without molasses?
No, yeah, I have.
Do you like the ones with molasses better or the ones with maple syrup? Really?
Because it's a little bitter.
Yeah, that's why I didn't like them. Do you like bitter? Okay.
So do I.
Okay. Sorry. All right. I'm short Palantir, and that could be a problem here.
Oh, you took the Palantir?
I did, because I like that view. I'm sorry, Katina, man. I like the view. The Katina man short Palantir at the moment right now. It's coming up into 23.19. I'm short 14s. If it continues past the VWAP by, I've got another 3 pennies worth of range here. That's going to be the end of the trade for me on PLTR. This looked to me like it was going to reject the volume weighted average price, owing to the fact that we've been dancing below VWAP all day. So I said, look, you're really close to it. You're not going to risk. You're going to risk about 6 or 7 pennies here on that pop-up. Give it a try. If it tanks, it tanks. Doesn't, you end up losing about 6 or 7 pennies on the short. We'll see what we get. I'm going to hold this trade until I get stopped out. I'm not going to take it out early. So keeping an eye on that. Someone was asking about these meme stonks that were moving. GME, yet another day of good moves. 10.5% Katina man. GameStop went up, and it's at the high of day as we speak. $14.15 is GameStop. What a move up. I still don't have any reason why this is moving. As you can see, nothing has come in on my blotter to justify this move up. Let me just double check my blotter real quick here on this name. GameStop, nothing. Nothing has come in on my blotter. Do you have anything on GameStop?
I have nothing. I still have my GameStop open.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Really, this looks like more of a technical break to the high side here and some unexplained buying. The volume is decent. The volume cannot be disrespected on the day. Almost 9 2/3 million shares traded today. Definitely a little bit lower than what we had yesterday. But you'll see there at the close, we printed about a million shares on that last 5-minute candle there on GME. A good breakup, but again, really not all that sure why it's moving. Now, this is the daily chart on GME. We've now taken the 50 on a closing basis, and if we close here, it'll be 2 days we close above the 50. Then we'll be staring at the 200 on the daily. Where is that at, you ask? 15.50. So it's about $1 and change, about $1.35 from where we're currently trading right now. And if history, bless you, Ram.
Bless you.
Whoa.
Bless
Wrinkles,
you.
bro. Take it easy back there, brother. And if history is any guide, guys, we did reject off the 200 period last time around. And that was in about maybe mid-December. Yeah, mid to late December, we got into the 200 period and rejected. So, this is a very interesting area. Keep your eye on the 200 period on the daily if you want to trade GME possibly to the short side. We shall keep our eyes. Kevin Mendoza, is it meme stonks season? We shall find out. Let the meme stonks tell us if it's meme stonk season. We won't tell them. They'll politely tell us. What's going on there, Katina man? The Katina man is long 185 on AAPL, using it as a level of support. Shout out to him. Hope he pranks.
Yeah, shout out to Sean there. Also shout out, to you, Palantir. Hopefully it's not an oh dear type of move unless it's nice profits. Yeah, I just steer clear of Palantir. It wasn't my time for it here. But who knows?
Whoa.
Next week we might be endeared to Palantir. Sean and I will be giving you that one on the market recap show on the big desk. We'll be. Oh, Sean, confident says.
Yes.
Confident.
Very
He is confident that there will be an EPS beat. Sean likes confident, so that's good to hear. He says EPS beat for Palantir. Right now, SOXL doing something interesting, and much like the TQs, which I've noticed sometimes do kind of trade in tandem. I got it on my TQs, risked a couple pennies, but look at this. Earlier today, this level, rejection, rejection, rejection. Now, we'll support or rejection. Now we're kind of pushing above. I'm like, okay, SOXL. Okay.
You think 21?
Happy I didn't hop into a short there. Pardon?
Do your thing, 21?
Yeah, do your thing, 21. I mean, can you do something for me? Apparently not at these levels. But these TQs, like I said, still up on the day, and I have to say I'm a little disappointed because I was a little bit more up on the day, but there are no trades that I took that I'm upset that I took.
Nice.
Do you know what I mean? I'm happy with, actually one exception is I probably didn't need to take these two Q trades, but I did like them. You know what I mean? I saw something on them that I liked. So I can't be too upset about it. Do you know what I mean? There's no trades that I was like, that was an egregious mistake, right? And if we keep projecting here at the TQs, hey, somebody might scalp a couple pennies here. I wonder who that could be. We're gonna have to wait and see. I don't want to rush into any trades. I'm proud of the trading I did today. Happy I'm up on the day. Still down in the week because yesterday was a little bit rough. It was my worst day since going live. But you know what? As 21 Savage says, taking less L's, making more M's. And you learn a lot from the loss. I learned a lot from yesterday. One, don't trade while tired. Don't mindlessly keep punching into SOXL at the same level in the same 5-minute candle. Find opportunities you like and try to stick with it. So
Nice, Adara.
that's my story.
These
and
are
I'm
invaluable lessons. You realize that, right? Like
Yeah, no,
the
thank
actual lessons that you get in real life, like getting punched in the face in boxing is entirely different than getting punched in a real match and getting punched while training. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think, taking something theoretically and taking something in real life when the real emotions online is
So different.
entirely different.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We used to, we're restarting that again, eh? My friends and I. We used to.
really?
Yeah, starting again tomorrow. So I'm kind of pumped
Enjoy.
about that.
That's awesome.
Yes, we're gonna go down to the beach. We're doing training.
Woodbine?
Boxing, we train outside. Yeah. Alfred teaches us. Yeah. You believe
Alfred's a
that?
boxer?
Yes.
No.
Yes, for like 15 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no, not kickboxing, like actual, just
I would not have
conventional
guessed
boxing.
that
Believe it or not.
three-piece suit wearing
I know, right?
Arthur Daniels Midland loving
I swear to you.
Alfred.
Arthur Daniels, love it. And Darius just dropping hot lies after another. I absolutely love it, bro. Yeah, well, I don't think he'd take offense to
I'm
that.
not
She didn't say
offended.
anything bad about it.
He just seems very straight-laced is what I
Yeah,
mean
he
by
is,
that.
but he's he loves boxing. He likes boxing as a fan to watch, and he actually boxes himself
That's very
for
cool.
many years.
Do
Yeah,
not judge a book by its three-piece
right?
suit. That's what I learned from that.
Shout out to you. We have 3 minutes left on the show. Do you have any
Ow.
final thoughts?
Yeah, my final thoughts are, like I said, learned a lot. Like I said, a little sad I gave up some of the gains from earlier today, but I'm not sad that I took chances on stuff I liked. You know what I mean? Because the same way that those trades went against me, they could have gone for me. I'm still up on the day. And I feel like I'm also up on knowledge. As much as that might sound really cheesy. And you know what? I'm excited to do the whole thing again back next week, maybe a little bit more awake, ready to go, raring for some brand new trade opportunities. And now I know what the spoofy man is, so we all learned something this week, that is for sure.
Bang. All right, come down, Palantir. I'm just going to go to Market Chameleon because I want to see what we have on tap for next week.
Oh, there's
with respect to
Airbnb,
earnings.
Lyft, Uber.
All
There's some
right,
goodies.
amazing. So let's have a look at that and we'll see what the implied volatility for those monsters are. Here's May 6th. All right, so this is the morning. We got Palantir, as Adara mentioned, coming up there in the aftermarket. We'll also have, what else we got there on Monday? Not the biggest batch on Monday. We have Lowe's. I'll be looking for that to see how the consumer's doing. So Monday, not the biggest day there. Let's check the 7th. We got Disney, baby, on Tuesday. So that's going to be an interesting one. Ferrari also coming in there on Tuesday. Occidental. That's going to be a one. Shout out to what's his name? Warren Buffett and his crew over there. By the way, Berkshire Hathaway, guys. Berkshire Hathaway tomorrow, 9 a.m. If you're interested in that, Warren Buffett's going to get on the mic with Becky Quick, and they're going to do that bright and early tomorrow. 9 a.m. is the Berkshire Hathaway conference. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. May 8th on Wednesday, we get Uber. Uber, a big one. What's
Your
up?
Palantir's in the money. Or I think you're, yeah.
I'm
it's going down.
1 penny in
Oh,
the money.
sorry.
It's nothing new.
I just saw it.
We have Uber and on Wednesday, and we have Airbnb. We'll also get Shopify as well, Trade Desk on there as well, Adara. So some great earnings next week. We cover all of those here. Make sure to catch that with Adair and I and the Katina Man and the Neil, and obviously Brendo at the big desk. We'll be covering all of that for you. 1 minute left, Adair.
Yeah, we'll give you trade desk earnings from our trade desk. We'll have to see if there's any longs or shorts we can live in an Airbnb for the weekend, taking rides in both Uber and Lyft, visiting the House of Mouse with Disney, the earnings possibilities, and apparently the pun possibilities are also endless. But we have about 15 minutes left. I had so much fun today, guys. I hope you guys had as much fun as we did with these crazy markets. Palantir being the bamboozler king of the day, but not for Sean, and it looks like not for Sharif either. But right now, we're going to have to say au revoir, sayonara, adios, happy Easter to Sharif and anyone else who's celebrating. But for now, we're going to have to see you next week, same bad time, same bad channel, and visit Brendan at the big desk.
Take care, guys.
Hey guys, yeah, welcome in. A couple hours left on a Friday afternoon here. Happy Friday afternoon. Happy weekend to come here as we get going back to the upside once again for not only the market, but individual tech names specifically. It's been about